What's the real reality of the situation? Because we even have bigger producers like TM88 said a couple years ago. You remember when he said he ain't get paid for EXO Tour Life a couple years ago?
So I called the radio. I called Diamond Cuts like, yo, who is that? She was like, it's this kid I'm working with named Uzi. He fired. And I remember waking up 9 o'clock in the morning, people walking over and tapping me like, yo, pack up. They bombing the world, man. You gotta go home and do whatever you gotta do. Everybody, I'm looking outside. People got their luggage. The main excuse I hear all the time is time. I ain't got no time to do it. Bullshit.
What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. So listen, y'all, we posted the IG clip like 3 or 4 months ago. We got to redo it. But we got Mimi today, y'all. So we got Mimi from Producer Culture.
Yay, y'all favorite person.
And you already know we got Doncannon,
Yes,
a.k.a.
sir.
the
Yes,
GOAT,
sir.
a.k.a. the labor executive, a.k.a. I could go through the credits, but it's going to last forever. But I'm going to go through them. We got Jeezy, 50 Cent, Lil Uzi, Rick Ross, Future, A$AP Rocky, G Herbo, Big Sean, Playboy Cardi, Currency. I'm missing like 100 more in it.
Yeah, you are, but it's all good. I'll take those. Those are some of my favorites anyway.
And this is the co-founder of Generation New Records, man. So let's get into it.
So before we get into the questions, of course, because I'm here, we got to do some icebreakers. So if we had ringtones today, what would your ringtone be?
I got a ringtone right now.
You do? What is it?
It's Austin Powers.
Is it corny to put your beat tag as a ringtone?
Yeah,
I think that
I think it's corny. I think it's like almost like you feeling yourself. You know what I mean? And I don't wanna be like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's like that. But it's also part of branding too. Like if you pull up, I just feel like if you're in a room and your phone ring, but you in there with them guys like Sonny Digital and Southside, and then your ringtone go off, and it's like, play it on the beat. It's like they gonna be like, bro, you corny as shit for that. Like, what's going on here? But yeah, it's gone. But Austin Powers is one. I used to have the Minions singing EXO Tour Life. That was like when we were going through the EXO Tour Life was like the biggest record out at the time.
That's hard.
So I had like the Minions version of that, but those are two. Like,
I got to give me a ringtone now.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is one thing you would change about yourself?
one thing I would change about myself. It's a tough question because it's two answers I have. One is not to be so humble. You know what I mean? Sometimes humble can kill you on a work level because people try to undervalue what you bring to the table.
Right.
You know what I mean? The second part was I want 6-pack.
That's doable. That's
like
doable.
Everybody's dream is like, you know what I mean? They growing up when he was older, like my mom was like, their whole dream was to have the big house with the white picket fence. Mine was like, man, I want to be on the beach with the 6-pack. I'm fat as hell, so you know.
Right.
What's your eating habits like though?
My eating habits are great. My fiance, I call her the OG vegan. She was eating plant-based since 2005.
Oh, damn.
So I didn't listen to her for the first 10 years. And it took me to get like almost wore down from being in sessions and smoking and eating JR crickets every day and fries and all the nonsense to one day my body shut down. I just was like, bro, I went to the doctor. He was like, man, if you don't get yourself together, I'm going to put you on some medicine. And I went home, I told her, she was like, we ain't doing none of that. She signed me up for a gym membership at Octopus, which is like a MMA joint. And I wound up running to the old homies that trained. He lost like 400 pounds himself. He was like, yo, I'm gonna show you how to do it without paying for the gym. And he was like, you give me some lunch money and I'll show you how to do it. I've been rocking with him ever since. So basically we just, I go out there, eat. My eating habits, like, last week I just went raw. I ate all raw food last week. I didn't eat anything else. I never really ate meat at all. I never ate beef and pork. Chicken was something I had. It was tough to get rid of.
Yeah.
I did that 5 years ago. I still partake in some fish every now and then. So I'll do like a salmon every couple weeks, but I mainly eat vegetables and fruits. But I have this guilty pleasure since I work out. Like every weekend I have a cheat meal and that's pizza. Like I can't get rid of pizza. And once I get rid of that, bro, I'm 6-pack.
I'm be real. I don't think I get rid of chicken.
I eat crab legs, but not in a traditional way of the South. Like we from up north, so we don't have them all in the bag with all the juices and stuff. We have Old Bay seasoning and stuff like that. So like I'll eat them in that motion. Like I'm a little bougie. I go to Whole Foods and get the crab legs, had them steam it, and then put like the Old Bay on it, like lightly. It's not a
As
bunch
long as
of
you
garlic.
can eat crab legs.
Yeah.
Can't
I
give
eat
up
crab
crab
legs.
legs.
Yeah, gotta eat crab legs.
Okay, so what do you consider your greatest accomplishment so far?
My greatest accomplishment right now was getting rid of the stereotypes. When I was doing a lot of the music, when I first came up, the stereotype was I gave you the classic record that everybody loved. You know, so it was like everywhere I went, it was like, bro, that record was incredible. Until I got rid of stereotypes and started making hit records. Mm-hmm. And that's where like, that was my biggest accomplishment, because it was always hard for me to do that. Just basically being in the culture and wanting that love from your fellowship producers and writers that you made the best beat on somebody's album. And once many years of doing it, I just was like, man, I gotta break the mold, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I finally did. So that was like my biggest accomplishment, just breaking the stereotypes. Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna get into the questions now. And my first question for you is, because we've been seeing like a lot of ads, we've been seeing a lot of campaigns going on around it. So tell us about your app and like what were your initial goals for the app when you first started versus what are your goals now that it has taken off?
So TmrO App is a marketplace for creatives to get paid, and it started as such, and bringing in clients to find creatives. I think connecting the dots is so hard nowadays because everybody has these prerequisites and everybody's out to burn somebody out of a job. And, you know, when I used to go do these panels and these speaking engagements, people would come up and ask their question. The first thing is, how do I get on? And I just didn't have an answer. My answer was, just keep working hard and you're going to get it. And I think that's just a cop-out that many of us use because on the come up, it's more than just hard work. Right. You know what I mean? There's politics involved. It's being in the right place at the right time. You know what I'm saying? All those things. So I wanted to come up with something that actually met the requirement of helping creatives and not just saying I'm helping creatives. You know what I mean? So again, with my fiance, she had this idea in her head to make an app to help the creatives because she was in styling. She was once a singer, got into styling artists and helping artists get to that level. And she had a friend that was in the styling industry, was styling on sets, like movie sets and things of that nature. And she wound up having to do a DoorDash because she couldn't stay in her field because there wasn't enough jobs. There wasn't enough times where she got paid in time. It was like net 60, net 30, net 90. So we put our heads together to kind of make a hub or a place where people can stay in their field, get jobs, get paid, and, you know, the tomorrows get paid as easy as tomorrow. A lot of times creators go on DMs, they do this job, somebody will vanish on them, you know, won't pay them, you'll never see them. They do 6, 7 variations and get paid for one. It's just a lot of stuff that goes on. And I was trying to move past that and help the creatives conquer a space to make themselves bigger than what they are. Like, I feel like the creatives is the most important thing in the world. You know what I mean? I once was a creator. I still create at some points, but you know, I'm in a space where I can't be inspiration without giving something back. You know what I mean? And this is me giving back to the creative to understand you can become the next one and still get paid. A lot of people are the next one now and still don't have the next one money in their pocket. And I think that was an issue. And I think that we solved it. We're not comparing to nobody. We ain't dissing nobody on this way up. We're just giving a chance. Like, I see a lot of people that have producer apps. I love it. Engineer apps. I love it. But we're making a whole a hub. You know, there's lawyers on the come up that ain't gonna be able to get to be Lil Baby's lawyer that fast, or a marketing team that's not gonna be able to give an idea to 21 Savage and Drake's album cycle or whatever. And I think that that's a way to treat some of the stuff that's going on is with this app. So, you know, I encourage everybody to get on the app, set up a profile, even just to show your work. I've had a lot of people that just don't have jobs set up, but just was like, yo, here's my portfolio. I just want you to see it, pull up the app, and I can see the work. I can go to Spotify, listen right there. And it's not really social. I feel like the social gets in the way of that a lot. We've had times where we were on Instagram and we seen like, you know, a dude trying to get some work from a female, but then really trying to holler at her, like, you know what I mean? Or a dude get somebody a beat and just want to give a piece of the beat. Like, all those things come with social. And I wanted to take the social out of it and make it just a strong work network where people can be cool with people, but it's not a lot of yatter in the messages. It's like,
Solely
it's
business.
the job. You know, you get selected, your money goes into escrow until the job is done. You press the job is done, the money goes into your account. It's very easy.
I ain't gonna lie, that joint too hard, bro. I was just sitting there.
Yeah, that is hard, yeah.
I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that shit is ill. You know what I mean? And we doing testimonies. Like, I don't know if anybody's seen on the page, like on the TmrO App, testimony is like, not only are we setting it up, but we also taking up and coming creators, people that are already there, and we're doing their story, their side of what's going on out here. Like, people need their story to be heard. You need to be, I've seen you working there with Sonny Digital making beats. And I was like, damn, he good as hell. Like, he needs a story. Like, you know what I mean? Everybody needs more than just their business card. They need like something to speak, because most creatives don't speak most. We in there working. We got this ill laboratory making all these crazy products, but we don't have somebody to tell the story for them. So that's like important too. So that's one of the things we're doing through the media, is just giving people a chance to speak, you know, on both sides, the female side, the male side, you know what I mean? All that.
So what do you think was like the greatest piece of feedback you've received from your app so far?
The greatest piece of feedback we got was the actual layout of the app. It doesn't look like nothing. It's not, we didn't go copy Uber. We didn't take a template from Instagram and make it the same thing. We actually came up with our own mainframe of what it looks like and how smooth it works. That's one. The second one is the media part of it. Like I was saying, like just pushing these creatives and pushing these clients to get engaged with each other. And there's like, man, I just seen an interview with, what's my man name? TmrO the Great. And it was amazing what he had to say. But guess what? We wouldn't know what TmrO the Great had to say if we didn't put it in a platform space for him to do it. Like, most oftentimes, the reason why I pressed to do this interview again, because I was able to speak to these guys about things that I normally don't get a chance to say. Everybody looks at me as like a muse or some type of idol and just want to live off of what they're saying instead of, hey, let me ask him an interesting question that, you know what I mean, I can answer. And they be like, damn, I didn't even know he spoke like that. You know what I'm saying? So that helps people understand where they're going instead of just saying, I want to be him. It's like, oh shit, I want to take what he said. I don't even want to be him. I just want to take what he said and kind of apply it to some rules, you know? So that's like the biggest achievements we've had for the app, is just being able to be there and show people that it's people just like us. I came up wanting to be Baby and Jay-Z and all these guys, you know what I'm saying? When I got over the hump of it, I realized that I took things from them to make myself.
Right.
You know what I mean? And instead of just going there and just wearing what Jay-Z had on or wearing what Birdman had on, it was just
There's
like
pieces of each.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm trying to give out so people can get.
I think TB's over there checking out the app.
Bro, listen over there. Bird got costume designer, hairstylist, barber,
Yep.
makeup artist. It's a random ass question, but what makes a good barber?
This is what I'd say for all creatives. It's the intricacy that goes into this.
Do they be putting the white line on your shit ready to
Nah. Hey, my barber I grew up with, but he incredible.
Yeah.
Like, you go to his page, he incredible, but he don't got the white lines. Now, there are some times where they do this the white line is from like something they put on your skin to show the actual line, and then they shave it, and that's what brings the white line. So that's what I see sometimes when I get a cut, but I had to wipe it off. It ain't no draw a pencil on first.
That's
all
like a
the
trend
new age.
nowadays.
That's
It's
the
not
new
a
age
thing.
barber stuff, man. You know what I mean? Shot the quad ear, by the way.
Nah, this ain't hard though. It's really like the one-stop shop. That's what I think.
Yeah, and we're opening up more. Like I said, we haven't even gotten to the marketing. We haven't gotten to the lawyers. We haven't got podcasters on there yet. We're just building it out. So it's a place where people can go. Like
Everyone
I was talking
can go,
talking to Ferrari Simmons, and he does Baller Alert, and he didn't get a chance. They don't have a studio yet, and I sat with this guy, and he had this crazy studio, but nobody's gone to it. So I try to connect them.
About it. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I want that to happen too. I want you to be in LA and be able to be like, get on the app, but the studio, but I want to book it for 4 hours and book it.
Bro,
that'd be hard.
I swear to you,
hard.
like, it was like, I said like a year and a half ago, me, Dylan, and Sonny was talking. He was like, bro, there's this app in LA where like I go to LA and I'm looking for a studio and they got like hundreds of studios that no one know about and I could just book time. Yeah. I was like, bro, that'd be so hard. We have one in Atlanta or like Miami or somewhere.
That's
you know what I'm
saying? We don't have that. We don't have those outlets.
And
it's because people don't use their money. Like, you know, I'm all for what people use their money for because it's none of my business. But at the same time, we got to put more into the community. Like, you know, it's all good for me to have a nice car, but it's all good, really good, if we got something in the community that people can use. Like, you might have a couple bucks to come use this studio and go, boom, I'm in this joint. You know what I'm saying? But you might not know how to go about it because that might not be a forte. You might not be as vocal to try to find TC or Royce or somebody to kind of like book the studio or reach out to me like, yo, bro, you think I get a day? Like, you might just want to be on your own, like, man, come up stuff and be like, yo, I'm gonna just book it right here. You know what I'm saying? So that's important, like the outlets. Like, we don't have outlets. We just suffer from that. So just continue to make them, you know?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to go download the app. I wonder what's going to be my profile picture, though, since he used my picture for his profile picture on your app.
Oh, he crazy for that. You crazy for that.
So let me ask you a question about like starting up businesses. Like, of course you got a plan when you made this app, but you said earlier, like, y'all got more stuff on the way to come. And I feel like the biggest thing with just people who want to start something is they wait for like the perfect time to do it. Like, what's your advice on that?
You can't wait for time, man. I just talked about this in Philadelphia. I spoke to some kids in Philadelphia, and the guy said, yo, I'm 17, and everybody say, take my time and wait. I got years. And it's like, we don't. Like, we're seeing the tragic things that's happening in hip hop with all these rappers, bro. It's heart-wrenching, you know what I mean? And it's like, I don't want anybody to rush, but I want people to maximize and use their time. You know what I mean? Because if you don't use your time well, you could look at your time be up. You know, that's just reality and that's life. That's what comes with it, you know? Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like, I encourage anybody that has the idea or has the money or has the resources to do it. Let's not wait for the right time. There is no right time. Like, you could be like, yo, I'm saving this beat. I'm waiting for A$AP Rocky to walk through that door. But you might be in there with Sonny and, you know, or Seti and play it, and then Seti give it to A$AP Rocky, and there you go. But you was waiting for the perfect time to get it to Rocky.
So you missed your opportunity.
Yes. So there is no perfect time to start a business. You can do it now. The research, like right now, like you can start your LLC right now on the internet yourself. They got so much stuff that you could set the joint up or whatever you want. You know, there's a little bit more things that's costly, like an app is costly. Mm-hmm. But, you know, if you take the right steps, you know, make a business plan or just do the right things, maybe you can get to an investor that will help you with it, or you can take it to the bank and get a loan or things of that nature. But, you know, for the most part, websites, starting a company, all that's really easy. Spreading the word is not easy, but it's just something you can do. Like, you know, where I'm at, it's like nobody gave me favors for TmrO App. Like, I didn't ask for nothing, but the people I took it to, they was like, yeah, Cannon, another idea. We know you 7-0 with ideas, but you know. And then now it's like, okay, I see. But, you know, it's every time we're bringing a new product, you gotta kind of market it and bring it and be, you know, fully behind it in order for it to work. So it's not the hardest thing, but it's not. It's not the easiest thing, but it's not the hardest thing at the same time, you know.
So like, let's just get toxic real quick for a second. So like, what's some like BS excuses that you hear a lot? Cause I ain't trying to like down anybody, but I'm just saying like, it's 2022, about to be 2023. We got a lot of resources now. Like, even if we go back like 10 years ago, we didn't have the apps, the tutorials, just all this shit that we were at Clubhouse. We didn't have none of that. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So like, what are other excuses that you hear? And it's like, bro, chill out.
The main excuse I hear all the time is time. I ain't got no time to do it. It's bullshit. You know what I mean? The second one would be, I don't have the money. And I think I'm 50-50 with that. There's some people that don't have the money, but there's people that have the money but don't have the money. And what I mean by that is if you're getting $10,000 for a beat, if you're getting $5,000 for a beat, the first thing people are doing is getting their first set of earrings, their first watch, their first pair of denim tears or Jordan 1 Off-Whites. Like, think about that when you're thinking about your business. You know what I mean? If I'm getting a check, you know, as young folks, like I'm telling everybody, first got my pub deal. I went crazy. You know what I mean? But I didn't have no mentor. We didn't have nobody like Kevin Lyles come wrap their arm around us or Russell Simmons like, yo, this how y'all do it. Mm-hmm. We was just winging it. We didn't know. But we spent money, we made money, we spent money again, made money. So it's like, now that we didn't have the resources now allow you to skip past blowing your money. You know what I'm saying? You can get any amount of money and get going crazy right now if you're persistent and you know, not to tell your business, but you're setting up something and it was brought to me and that's off the hip for you. You know what I'm saying? But you're taking the right step to get there, whether it don't matter. Your dad's funding it, you're funding yourself, or you scraping up pennies. It's just something you taking a step further to do, you know, instead of just complaining all the time. I hear a lot of complaining, a lot of people, yo, bro, I got this happening, or I got kids, and I feel all that, but like, go hard. Like, vicious story I always tell is like Eminem went hard so long and he had a kid, you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody say, once you have a kid, your career is over. It's like, he went hard. So like the excuses I hear, like you talk about getting toxic, it's just time. The people don't got the money when they be lying, they be capping. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to talk to nobody. Like, you know, people be on a introvert shit, don't want to speak to nobody, then you don't want no business. You know
Closed mouths don't get fed.
Yeah, so like those are all the excuses, but it's a lot more random ones. People be like, yo, I ain't really finished the idea yet. Well, why you ain't finished the idea yet? You know what I'm saying? It's all that coming, like, you know, I just flip it a little bit for when I first meet people with beats, right? The first thing they say to us is what? It ain't mixed yet, but like, I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? It came raw. I started raw. They act like I started with my beats mixed at 13 years old. Like, nah, my beats wasn't mixed either. You know what I'm saying? So that's another excuse that we start seeing in the producer world. It's like, it ain't mixed yet, but this just a rough. Oh, I'm doing this, but you know, I gotta get the drums correct.
You been doing beat competitions lately on stream, ain't it?
Yeah.
I can tell, cause that's exactly, I just did so too. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, so, you know what I mean? It's crazy because, I don't know if y'all heard of Mappa. It's this 14-year-old producer.
Oh, yeah.
And C-Note told me about him first, then Willie Joe, one of my A&Rs, brought it to me. And I finally got a chance to sit down with him. I do a stream on Friday with TmrO. And he came on, he had no excuses at 14 years old. This dude's a prodigy. He came in here, he ain't say, yo, I don't got my computer today. Yo, I don't really rock with Logic. I don't really rock with Ableton or whatever. He came and sat down, asked him 2 questions. I said, you want to cook up? He was like, grabbed his mouse, got the cooking up. So I was like, yo, you use loops? He like, nah, I cook up from the jump. He made a melody. He cooked up 3 beats. He was in his own world. There was no excuses. And I remember that's how I was when I was young. You know what I mean? I just made beats and you asked, I gave it to you. Now we get in the 20s where we kind of like insecure about our creativeness and be like, this ain't mixed. I ain't gonna give him no beats yet. I ain't ready yet. Like, like that's whack. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we tie all that into like the business questions, like the excuses got to stop when it come to us because we all started from places where it wasn't the best and we got there, you know, with polished, you know, material.
I can't wait to see how far he go. I see him a lot. Like, he's always in a beat battle.
Yeah, he's dope.
Always, like, trying to get his name out there some way, somehow, you know?
Yeah, I want to help him. Like, he got good parents behind him. His brother's a rapper from Detroit. And he's just a good kid, bro. It was no nonsense. He didn't smile too much. First thing he said, I asked him, what's his goal? He said, I want to be better than my Uncle C-Note. I want to be better than you. I'm going to be better than you because I'm fire. And I was like, oh, Okay. You know what I'm saying? And I was like,
I ain't gonna lie, I would not say that shit about he got it, man. I would have been like, I'm just trying to be great with it.
There's 1,200 people on the Twitch. He's saying it live. Like, I want to be
popping
part of
it.
I said, okay, no doubt. Let's
Confident.
cook. You know what I'm saying? So I hope he does well, man. For real.
So speaking of 14-year-olds, let's take it back. So like, let's go from the beginning. What was life like in Philly? How did you get to Atlanta?
So I'll start back. I got my first turntables at 2 years old. I did my first party at 5 years old, was a wedding reception. I did my first 5 rap records at like 9 years old, and my first beats at 11 years old. Yeah. So by the time I was 14, I was already going. Like I was already, it was like brushing my teeth. Like nobody can explain it. Like that's how I stayed happy. That's how my mom was like, yo, he's making beats. I was outside playing basketball. If not, I was making beats. So at 14, like in Philly, I really had no idea where I was going. I just know I was going to be a fire producer. And where I wanted to be. 17 years old, I was really trying to go to a college, but I wanted to go somewhere in Philly. So I was like, Cheney was a black school. If I was, picked up for basketball, I wanted to go to St. Joe's or Temple or something like that. You know what I mean? LaSalle. I wasn't that good in basketball. So I wound up trying to figure it out. My mom was like, nah, I got to get you out of Philly. It's violent. We didn't come from the greatest neighborhoods. She did everything she could to get us in a neighborhood that was better than the last. So the first thing she wanted to do was, I didn't do good in school, and she was always saying, your grades are too bad. You're never going to make it to college. So one day I took the SAT, and I got like 1,000 on the SAT, and she was like, how you do that and you don't do good in school? I was like, I don't really like school like that. So she was like, you want to go to college? I was like, yeah, I want to go somewhere here. And she was like, you don't want to go with your cousin. So I had a cousin at Clark, Morehouse, and Spelman all at the same time.
Me too.
And I was like, I'll go down there to visit. I visited. It was something about Atlanta that I loved, like Clark, Atlanta, and just being around there. Morris Brown was around. So it was like 4 colleges. So I was like, fuck it, I'll go down there. I went down. And the minute I got down there, I was just DJing already. I was DJing out of the dorm for like people just hanging outside. I just built a name like that.
So which one did you choose?
Clark. I went to Clark.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I went to Clark too.
Yeah. For real, I don't think it was the way I was going to get into Spelman and Morehouse. My grades were just too bad. You know what I'm saying? So Clark wrapped their arm around me. He was like, yeah, we'll give it a try. You know what I'm saying? So I came down and just, I was just rocking, and I felt like Atlanta was like, I didn't have strategy. Like now, in the new ages and the new generation, they could look on the internet and see what's going on. I'm going to go to Atlanta and hopefully bump into Lil Baby or bump into Gunna or bump into somebody. That's what the generation sees now. I didn't know what I was going to do. I knew my cousin was there. If I was going to get in a fight or anything happened, my cousin was there. My other cousin was across the block, and I had a girl cousin. So that's all the things I was thinking about. It's like family's there. I'm far away, but I'm with family, and they're older than me, so they can tell me, all the loopholes in Atlanta. And that's what I know. But when I got here, I was like, oh, I'm supposed to be here. You know what I mean? I'm supposed to be.
Felt right.
This moment was like, the first couple of years in college, I went back home, and it felt like I pressed pause, left, came back in a year and pressed play, and it was doing the same shit. Niggas was on the corner, niggas was outside, niggas going to jail. It was just the same thing over and over. And I was like, all right, I went home again, came back, it was the same shit. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to try my hand and just stay down Atlanta. You know what I mean? And I wound up staying, and then that's when I started seeing all the successful people coming out of the HBCUs. You had Shaka Zulu. Being on campus on Market Thursday and Friday, like I met 50 Cent, I met Nas. There was Audrey's bookstore back then. She brought any and every rapper there for an in-store, from Fat Joe to Mace to anybody. And it just gave me hope, because I was like, man, I could possibly be walking down a promenade and give my beat CD to any of these guys, or they manager, or they homeboy, but it was closer to me in Philly, not touching nobody. Right. You know what I'm saying? So that's when I knew Atlanta was for me. That was the first part. The second part is, oh snap, this city is great. You know what I mean? It was laid back at the time. You know, it's a lot of violence is going on now, but then it was just a player city. Like I came here, it was like everybody was helping each other. I didn't understand the language between up north and here. Like people was hanging outside the cars, throwing bows and stuff like that. And I'm from up north, so we was like, man, they trying to ride on me. Like, you know what I'm saying? But when people from Atlanta was telling me in the dorm, like, nah, that's like a term of endearment. Like they just showing you like, we popping, like come pop with them. So I was like, oh, okay. So I started getting in that mix, and then I started seeing how welcoming Atlanta was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's when I just fell in love with the city in general, because where we came from, like even you being from Brooklyn, like we don't get that love. Like walking down the street, what's up, man? What's up? Throw your hands up. And it doesn't mean that here.
It's
like,
so warm here and welcoming, yeah.
Yeah, I'm walking in the store and people like, hey, what's up, man? How can I help you? We don't get that. Philly, shit, you gotta pick your shit out and take it to the register. You know what I'm saying?
No conversation, for real.
So I love my city so much, but this was just welcoming for me because, you know, we grew up poor, so to get the chance to be around people like mine was like, we poor too, but we happy. It was different, you know what I mean? So I like that thought about it, you know, and how they embrace me in the city.
Yeah, so tell us the story of how you first started making beats. Like,
I started making beats at 9, 10 years old. So I didn't know this was, you know, how you do something, then you find out you ain't the only one doing it.
Yeah.
So I had a karaoke machine, and the only way I could make beats, because I didn't have a beat machine, was to they had these things called pause tapes. So basically, I would take like a James Brown or like Whitney Houston or something in there, and I'd find a part on that tape to sample, and I would record it on the other side onto another tape, stop it right where I wanted to stop looping.
I remember he telling me about this, man. That shit tedious, man.
Rewind it back to that same part, record it again, all the way till I got 5 minutes worth of that loop beat.
Damn.
Right? And then I would take that and put it on the left side of the deck and rap on it. And that's how I make my records. But that's how I made my beats for so long, because I didn't have nothing to do. Then I upgraded to a Gemini sampler, which was just a mixing, a DJ mixer with a 8-second sampler on it. So by that time, I would sample it for 8 seconds and then play a break beat and bring it back and then record that. And that was my beat for a little bit. So I went through those motions. Then I got to the Dr. Rhythm, which was, you know, a little machine that some people use now. Jay Dilla used it, a lot of people. And then I started making beats on that. I went to a 4-track, which is a 4-track recorder, and so on and so forth till I got to the ASR 10 keyboard. And then I had an ASR X box. And then I just started getting, when I started getting money, I just started buying.
That nigga say like 23.
I don't know what that, I'm gonna go.
I look at me like, what is this?
So I'll tell you a story. When I went to college, I came down here, I was still using the Gemini mixer to make beats and shit, right? So I had this kid named Detroit Red. He was one of my guys, and he was like, yo, I got a beat machine. I was like, a beat machine? So he showed me the beat machine, like the MPC and shit. I'm like, oh man, when I go home, I'm gonna get me one of these. I'm gonna work a job and try to get a beat machine, because what they doing is way crazier. You know what I'm saying? I went home. I didn't make enough money. So when I was going back to school, I asked my mom, I was like, look, I'm going back to school. I want to get this beat machine. And she was like, I ain't paying for no beat machine. I ain't got no money for no beat machine, right? So she seen how involved I was into it, to make a long story short. And she was like, you know, I was still doing bad in college. Like my grades was terrible. So my pops passed when I was little. So she was like, yo, we can go to Sam Ash and I'll get you this beat machine, but you got to sign this letter saying that you're going to get good grades on your dad's grave, or in the name of your dad. However the letter was written, it was in that, like, it was on my dad. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, you know what? Hell yeah, I'll do better at school. I just need the beat machine. I signed a note. We went to Sam Ash. So when I went to Sam Ash, and this is crazy because I'll never find out who this guy is, but I went to Sam Ash and I was like, I went to MPC 2000, right? He was like, bro, those joints, you ain't never getting that joint, you know? And it was on sale in the store, but it was just sold out. I'm looking, he was like, yo, I'm gonna put you on, get this ASR keyboard, you know what I mean? I was like, nah, I want the MPC Fuck all the other shit, right? he like, nah, I'm telling you. He was like, the RZA used it. Who he said at the time? He said the RZA used it. A whole bunch of people used it, right? He was like, I'm telling you, bro, you gonna love the machine. I wound up getting the keyboard and I loved it. And I made all my classics on it. But traveling back and forth to Philly, it was a big keyboard. So they made a smaller version, which was the box. And I wound up getting the box before I came back to college. And Detroit Red had the box. And he was like, oh, he had a black one. I had a red one. I couldn't find a black one. I had to get a red one. And I started working on that. And it was incredible. And, you know, my first 20, 25 placements was on the ASR.
Oh, wow.
And I was thankful that I got a chance to get that and not the MPC, because I really made a stamp with that machine. You know what I mean?
No, for real. So what do you use now?
I use Ableton now. So I had this thing with myself, and I might have said on it the last time, that I never wanted to be in a place, cause he made a good point about excuses. I hate excuses. So I always wanted to be that person that was able to work on everything. If he brought his laptop and I ain't had nothing, what you using? Fruit Loops, I'm gonna learn how to do that right now, because I want to make the beat. I've been in sessions at Patchwork everywhere since 2005. If you had an MPC 4000, that's what we're using today. We had the Triton, that's what we're using today. So I learned all of them. And my first piece of computer equipment was Logic, you know, and I liked that program a lot. But I seen all the kids using Fruity Loops, and I just stayed on Logic. And I think Ableton fit me well, just being a DJ. Is really live. It's like making stuff live, and I was doing that as a DJ already. So I just stayed in that mode. You know, FL was a little, for the young folks, it was easy. It was complex for me. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I stayed on Ableton. I've been there ever since. I still mess with people that come, they have reason. Super Mario did Logic last week. I was messing with the Logic. But FL's great. All of them are great. I haven't gotten to Bitwig. I haven't gotten to Studio One yet.
You said Bitwig?
Yeah.
I ain't heard of that one.
Yeah, Bitwig is another one. I hadn't gotten to Studio One. I don't know if you heard that.
Yeah.
Cubase was one. I didn't get into that.
My uncle used Cubase. Now he used some shit named Nintendo or some shit.
Nuendo.
Nuendo. I fucked that name. Oh, look.
Nintendo 64. Yeah, Nuendo. Those I haven't jumped into, but yeah, I'm Ableton for the most part.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. We had that shit easy. We can't. Them niggas couldn't crack no ASR 10 or nothing. I had to buy that shit.
Hell no.
I don't think half of the producers would have made it like back in your day. Hell no.
Man, we recording the tape. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
people ain't record the tape. I had my first internship. I was cutting tapes like real reels, like, you know what I mean? You messed up, people would be mad as shit. So that's where, you know, I come from. I came from a long lineage of things that I had to do to get here. So like when I see the young kids, like most older people can down them and be like, man, that work y'all doing ain't no work. Like I embrace it because I was like, man, I had to do this for them to do it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm happy with that, you know?
We'll talk about like DJ Drama when he come into the play.
96, he came to school. I came to school in 97. Before I got here, I had a friend named Jabari that knew him, and he was like, yo, when you go to Atlanta, you got to get with DJ Drama. He like the hottest thing in Philly already. He was already working with the Roots and Bahama D and all these people. And I was like, all right, cool. When I see him, I'm gonna run into him and tell him I know you, I come to school. I'm on a promenade. He was out there selling mixtapes on the trash can. He had like a little yellow radio, and he was just playing. He had like at that time he was doing like dancehall tapes and like neo soul.
Promenade iconic. That's crazy.
Yeah. So he was there. He'd pull up and just be on the corner on the green trash can selling the mixtapes. He had long dreads, and he used to work at Marco's Pita and Audrey. They used to make pitas for everybody. So, but he knew everybody. His house was like where Talib and Binkus Records was like a local group here. Just everybody would go to his crib to record. He was just a hub, right? So I finally seen him one day. I walked up to him. I was like, yo, what's up, Drum? I'm Cannon. Not at that time I was Brasco. I was like, yo, I'm Brasco. Like, bro, I produce. He like, oh yeah, where you from? I'm like, I'm from Philly. They're like, where? He's like, I was like, yo, I want to give you some beats to listen to it. He basically was like, all right, get out of here, young boy. Like, you know what I'm saying? He always say, I didn't say that. But I always say he was just like, kind of like, I'm DJ drummer, bro, get out. He took the beats anyway. A couple of days later, he had called me like, yo, I heard your beats. They crazy. I want you to come to my crib. So I was like, oh shit, he fuck with him. So I slid to his crib. I made beats there, you know, and we formed a bond. He was living in the crib by himself, but by the time I got to his crib, he was in there with Trendsetter, which was one of our other partners, and they had a duplex, and I was in there, and we'd just be vibing out, and all these artists would be coming through his crib, like everybody, bro, and I'd be like, oh shit, I'm here, you know what I'm saying? So that's how we got our start in the relationship, was basically me giving him beats on the promenade and him actually taking a listen, putting the ear to the stuff. I was already working with local artists, but it was people in my age group and not in his, you know what I mean? So it wasn't nobody big, it wasn't Black Thought, you know what I'm saying? And none of them, it was just local people I was working with. But I got a chance to meet some of the people he was walking around with, like Fat Beats at the time was in Atlanta. They had everybody coming through doing in stores. And I was just meeting people, and then he was just connecting with me. And, you know, at some point he was like my manager. You know, he was just helping me move beats around.
That's hard. So I have to ask this, like, because I went to Clark, so I know, like, what Clark did for me. So, like, I got to know, like, I mean, you met drama there, like, on the promenade. So, like, what else did Clark do for you? Like, how you feel like going to Clark Atlanta changed your life? And, like, what values did Clark Atlanta instill in you?
I'm going to give you a couple answers. Family was one. I met a lot of friends that never left my life from Clark. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a fact.
If I don't speak to them as much, when I see them, it's an instant, yo, remember when we did this?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Trip down memory lane.
Yeah, and it, you know, Clark, man, I don't know if it's another school. I mean, they say Howard, they say
It's no school like
Hampton,
Clark.
that built a lot of superstars and a lot of relationships. But in my school, I just witnessed so many walks of life be winning. Like I'm years later, I go in the bank and I see the chief financial officer at Merrill Lynch from Clark my years. Like, bro, we went to school, we was in a dorm together. I'm like, oh, that's crazy. So, you know what I'm saying? And these were just, we didn't have to nurture the relationships. We just had relationships. Coming out the dorm, you knew everybody. We knew every female. We knew every person. And the fact that I was popular just elevated a little bit, but I still met people. Like when me and Drum had the raid, I remember when we went to Rice Street, when we were in a holding cell, we got let out for a little second, and I went in the main room, and one of the main officers there, allowed me to make a phone call. And it was like, I went to school with her. I used to call her Foxy Brown, and she appreciated that. So she was like, remember you used to call me Foxy? Come use the phone. You could just chill. You know what I mean? So it was stuff like that I was like, oh, you meet all kinds of walks of life when you're in college. Like, yeah. I know you experienced it, but I met all the rappers. I met all the people that was doing gaming at the time. I met just so many people. It's stockbrokers, it's managers, it's radio personalities. It's people like Eva Pickford, like, you know what I'm saying? That's a model that was down there. Like, I was seeing just so many people win from Clark. And it was like, yo, it's crazy. And then Morehouse and Spelman too. You know, we didn't touch that ground as much. Like, I knew a lot of people, but we just stayed in our hub because we was Clark. You know what I'm saying? So I met so many people. Like Damian Lemon, he's a comedian. He's been all over TV. I went to school with him. I see him all the time, you know. You got teachers, you know, you got successful people all over. It's like I said, it don't have to be a superstar. It's people that's doing construction, that's building malls that we knew in school, like, oh shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So Clark is just it's that hub, man. It's just it's special.
Yeah, lit class. Oh, you went to college?
Yeah, I went to college.
So I'm the only dropout.
now we're together. I dropped out.
All right.
So I ain't graduated.
Yeah, we feeling like a lonely nigga.
No. I dropped out. So I wound up going 3 years. So my last year.
Oh, you dropped out in the last year.
Well, I wasn't even up to. I was a sophomore, but still. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I was still behind. Yeah. Like I was like a sophomore, but a senior. You know what I'm saying? But I wasn't even in school, but again, here goes the relationships. There were some relationships where people let me stay in a dorm room in the Heritage Commons when I ain't had no place to stay, when I just act like I was in school, you know what I'm saying? I'm on the floor. 9/11, I was homeless. I didn't tell my mom I wasn't in school. I didn't tell nobody. I was just on my man's floor. And I remember waking up 9 o'clock in the morning, people walking over and tapping me like, yo, pack up. They bombing the world, man. You got to go home and do whatever you got to do. Everybody, I'm looking outside. People got their luggage. They going everywhere. So I'm calling my mom. I had a Sprint trio. I'm like, Mom. She's like, yeah, son. So what are you going to do? And I was like, well, I'm going to be honest and truthful with you. I ain't been in school in a year. I just been down here thugging it, blah, 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 da-da-da. And she was like, not even mad. She was like, so what are you going to do? Are you going to come home? If you come home, you're going to have to drive or get in the train. Ain't no flying, ain't bombing, airy plane, blah, blah, blah. Tell me what you can do. I told her, yo, I'm going to just stay down here. If you're safe, I'm going to just stay here. She was like, I think that's a good idea. And I wound up staying here. I think at that time, the dorms was getting empty. Drum wound up taking me in and letting me stay on his couch. And I stayed there for a little while until I got a couple chips up. I found an apartment with $700 a month, and I wound up getting my own apartment. So that was just,
Wow, that's a crazy backstory.
Yeah, yep.
I feel like it should have had, like, I just gotta have a nigga stay on your couch. Like,
well, no, that's part of the game. Like, I noticed, like, I tell the kids now that's coming up, like, when I was working with Currency and the cool kids in like 2010 and 11, all them kids was couch surfers, bro. Like, they would go from Detroit and go hang out with people in Houston and just live there for a month. Then they would go to and I want Drake to know, because I'm gonna include him into this too. I met Drake then, and he was in that same space. Like, when he says Houston, Atlanta, Vegas, that's 1,000% true with him. Like, he would go places and live there. Like, Holmes was living in Houston for months, come to Atlanta, live there for months, go to LA. You know what I'm saying? He was just living in places, like living in Toronto. So, like, when you went to those places, they knew who he was. It's like, oh yeah, we know Drake. He be out here all the time. He actually live here. You know what I'm saying? So that was one of the things that I admired about his generation and them that was coming up. They all did the couch surfing thing. They just always was hanging in different spots. Like, Currency would come out of Atlanta, chill with me for months, then go back home to New Orleans, go back to Houston and live for months. You know what I mean? And then go to like LA and chill. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I observed about it. You know what I mean? When I met, Drake, and he was in Atlanta and he came to the studio, he already knew everybody. He just kept coming here. Same thing with Currency, same thing with Cool Kids. It was just something people was doing. It was just couch surfing. I think you're right. You almost gotta rock in different cities, because even fans know, like, he really was out here in Tennessee rocking for a little bit. Like, we know, we seen him. So, like, that's a good story, like, that we talking about, is that couch surfing thing. Perfect.
So since we talking about, like, just networking, just moving around, like, how you feel is different now in Atlanta? Like, if I just moved to Atlanta today and I'm like, hey, bro, just give me some advice, what would you say?
The advice in Atlanta is different now because it's become a superstar city, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. So, like, there's no real answer. You could be at Lennox and eating at Cheesecake Factory and run into Icewear Vizzo. Or, you can run into, different people, all walks of life. You can walk into a manager. So, like, those are the things that happen overnight for some people. I've seen the most amazing things happen. And you hear these stories all the time. Like, you could date it back to JD when he found Criss Cross. They was just some kids in the mall and they looked like rappers. He walked up to them and they became Criss Cross. You know what I'm saying? So Atlanta's always had that feeling, but now it's just a different feel than what we had to go through coming up. Like, you didn't see somebody who was occasional. Now it's not occasional. It's like, yeah, I'm pulling up to the light and there's Young Thug, or there's 21, or there's people that you probably didn't think. Like, you know what I'm saying? When we were in school, bro, Jay-Z was on campus. You know what I'm saying? Nas was with 50 Cent on campus.
Yeah,
You know what I
Clark
mean?
do give
Like-
you a lot of opportunities.
Like when do you get that opportunity? It was to the point when I went home and I was telling people all the people that I saw or I might have shook hands with or might have signed my vinyls. And it was like, bro, you don't get out of here with that nonsense. You know what I mean? You ain't meet no Nas, bro. You tripping. I'm like, that wasn't
They really
Nas. That
do?
was somebody else. I'm like, all right. You know what I'm saying?
crazy.
So that's where the advice would have to come in. It was like, man, just move around because I'm like, bro, you know.
Mhm.
You was in a room full of people. Now you know you just connecting with certain
Mhm.
motherfuckers. You know what I mean? It's just Atlanta. But people do move down here thinking that that's what it's gonna be.
And it's not
No,
always
you know what I
like
mean?
that.
It might
at
not be
all.
your time either. But for the most part, like if you put in, you pay your dues and move around a little bit, you're gonna run into somebody. You know what I mean?
You think you're gonna write a book one day type shit?
If anything, it'll be a documentary.
Well, whoever write a book, it's just Atlanta. That's right. You just said that shit. That shit hard. That was the cover. It's just Atlanta.
Yeah.
That'd be
That's
hard.
a good title though.
I ain't gonna lie.
That's
Yeah.
hard.
This
That's
is the
hard.
way you said it. My bad.
Yeah, nah, it's all good. It's all good.
Okay, this is my last question about Clark. So like, would you do like some sort of like event where you give back to those students?
Absolutely. There's no way in hell I can move forward without doing something with Clark Atlanta.
Okay, I'm putting it together.
So you had a sneak peek when we went in the room over there, and they were asking me about doing something with the TmrO App in Clark Atlanta, and that has to happen.
Oh,
There
that'd be dope.
there has to be some type of chapter or something to where we connect those dots.
Okay.
Because we was once there. Like, I'm not saying
Yeah.
every school is based on like how, it's a million engineers across the street at Georgia Tech, but it's a million creatives and
Clark
people
is
that want to be in the
different, though.
business
Yeah.
at Clark. You know what I'm saying? So I have to do it there. It's like, it doesn't make a lot of sense for me to go to places where I wasn't in school and I know the culture
Yeah.
of that school.
The culture,
even the area,
experiences,
like
the
the
memories, yeah.
whole, AUC. It's just, we know the culture. We've been there. We never stop going there. We peek our
Never.
heads in every once in a while, but
Right.
it's just, we know it. Like, we know
For
it.
sure. No, I definitely want to be a part of that for sure. So now I gotta ask you, how did you get named vice president of A&R at Def Jam in 2013?
It's a funny story, and I hate to tell the story because it's a little sensitive spot. So at that time, I think that me and Drum had fell out because of some situations that happened. And I was just trying to find my way as a standalone and trying to figure it out. I was making beats, but I just felt stagnant. Like I was getting placements. So I'm like, man, life is more than just placements. You know what I mean? I had built a long relationship with No ID. And we was just always friends. Like they used to have a restaurant here. I think it was Harold's Fried Chicken, was on campus, and it wound up burning down. But the owner had introduced me to No ID, and we just been friends. And then we had a mutual friend named Serge that I went to school with, and we just built this relationship. So when Asher Roth came around 2010. I was working with Scooter, and he was like, yo, I got this artist I want you to develop. He's incredible. And it's like, cool. I was managing a studio on 14th Street, which was S-Line, and I had him come through there and work. And I asked No ID to come in because he was just in Atlanta. He's working with JD, but he was still trying to figure out some new ways to move around too after all the history's made. So he came to the studio every day. We was working on Asher Roth, and we just built a great relationship. He had an opportunity where, he pretty much, him and Kanye's always had a relationship. And Kanye asked him to come to Hawaii to come work with him and do some stuff. And he was like, yeah, he went to Hawaii. And, something about we were in Atlanta working and just moving around and just doing something gave him some energy. And he always told me like, yo, when we was moving around, you gave me some type of energy to kind of like, get back on my grind, get back on my shit. And when he went to work with Kanye, they did all these things. He brought me back into the fold, but then they wound up giving him position at Def Jam, and he was building the staff. And he was like, yo, I know you ain't that tight, but I would love for you to come in and learn the system and, and help me rock with some of these artists. And that's how I wound up getting a job, because he brought me to Karen Kwok, which was like the head of the whole thing. And he vouched for me heavy, and she wound up hiring me, and that's how I got the position.
Damn, that's dope. So what lessons did you learn working at a major label like that?
I'm gonna turn it from a lesson into all the valuable things I learned. Us coming up in these fields, producers, songwriters, we never learn all the points of being an exec. You know what I mean? I learned so much. I learned publishing, royalties to a T, mechanicals, marketing plans, promotion, just how each department worked. You know, we lifted up the hood and seen all the nitrogen. It was like, oh, that's how y'all doing it. And I studied enough to be able to leave and come up with my own sense of what a record label is supposed to be. And I learned a lot from every person that was there. We had a unique situation where me and Sycamore teamed up, and we did work on Dirk's album. We did work on YG, and the way we were setting up, we were tagging with each other, so not one person can fall for the bad work. So we will always work together. I think me and Steve-O was working on Jeezy. Me and No ID was working on Logic, and him and Tab was working on Alicia Carr. We were all working on Big Sean. So it was just like a family style of A&R grouping, how we did it. Like, Sycamore went heavy on Jeremiah, but there was parts where I came in and helped him with it, just helping records get together and do certain things. So it was just family style like that. And the one things I learned was just all the mechanisms that went along with running a record label. And I wanted to have that and leave and bring that into a situation where we could win off of those same tactics or same moves they were making. And that's how Generation Now was built, because I changed my mind about who I wanted to be. I didn't want to be the best producer anymore. I wanted to find something unique. I was always I gotta find a rapper. Somebody's gonna be better than the best rapper ever. And I changed my mindset into trying to find something unique. And actually, Caleb, my fiance, helped me with that. She was like, you're gonna be this classic producer for the rest of your life until you find something unique. The first unique artist, everybody keeps saying that, was Uzi. The first unique artist that I actually was working with was Jimmy Wall Street, who's from Philly. And he was just a different type of rapper from Philly. He had bars, but he just had a different swag to him, the way he moved. And there was something new about it. And I was like, oh, this is unique. It's a unique feel. He wound up getting killed. And I still kept the unique mindset. And that's what opened me up to listening to somebody like Uzi. I would have never really found or opened my eyes up to somebody like him if I didn't think of unique. I was just rapper orientated, classic. Right. And those, once that happened, I was understanding the business like, this is how we gonna sign them. This is the deal we can do. This is, where we could take it, and then we all join forces to make it work. But I just pretty much wanted to know that I had the handbook in my brain from the record label to know how they talk. I experienced how they did artists, good or bad, the negotiations, what we needed to do, and how, what was the expectations in the books as far as finance or what we need to do for each quarter. I just learned so much that I brought it to the table that made our next company successful without, a major,
Man, over here just giving gems and games and shit.
That's a lot of gems.
It's just basically the truth. It's really not.
So for viewers who watching but don't know, what's the actual job description of an A&R?
Do you know what A&R stands for?
Well, I'm gonna be so real.
It's artist and repertoire.
Okay, that's good that you know. Artist and repertoire. Repertoire meaning everything that comes with it.
Okay.
So it's artist and repertoire. So basically, that's one thing. This is a good question coming off of the Def Jam question. One thing that I learned that it's more than just finding records and helping a artist put an album together. You got paperwork. You know what I'm saying? You got talking to managers. You're talking more of the stuff I was doing had nothing to do with music. I was doing charts with samples, clearance, and finding the producer that did it, how much they wanted to charge, session forms, all those things was something that I would be like, I don't want to do this. I just want to make beats and meet artists. That's what most people do. but they think A&R stops at, I made this artist, I found this artist. That's not A&R.
Right.
A&R is everything that comes along with it. It's more administration work because that's the important part.
Right.
You know what I mean? You could do all the songs you want, get to the doorstep and be like, we can't clear this sample. Well, how I do that? See what I'm saying? So that's all the things that come with being an A&R. And, you know, I salute everybody trying to be an A&R and thinking that's the easy way into the industry because they're finding talent and we're doing that. That's actually consulting in my eyes, just finding an artist and bringing somebody that doesn't make you an A&R.
That's,
you know what I mean? A&R is being able to handle the business side as well because it's actually a position. You know what I mean? It's not creative, it's a position.
So what do you think is the difference between like today's A&Rs and like A&Rs back in the day? And do you think real A&Rs still exist?
I do. I don't know. I haven't met any new ones yet that are, because the landscape has changed, the way they handle business. But when we were coming up, A&Rs did everything. They sat in Brooklyn and Marcy with the artists. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They traveled with them to the TV show, to the show. They did their paperwork. They handled everything between the manager and them in the label. They found records. They connected the dots. It's just it was a different style of A&R and that was happening. We talk about some people like KP, Kawan Prather. I don't know if y'all know him, but he's a pivotal person in the industry that signed a lot of artists, including T.I. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I like most about him is that he helped in the creation of Kendrick Lamar, We Gonna Be All Right. It wasn't like finding a beat or anything, but he just, you know, from what I heard was saying, we gonna be all right. And then it just became something. And that was added to, you know, what an A&R could do. You know what I mean? And I salute him for that because we don't get that chance to shine. A lot of us are looked at as suits when you come to A&R. You know what I mean? And even sometimes as high as I built the company with my partners and much as I do, some people still come in a way and be like, hey, he's the A&R for Jack. No, I'm not. You know what I'm saying? If that's what you see me as, that's fine. I can't stop you from seeing that, but I'm actually not. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, I love to see A&Rs coming up and being them and being a superstar A&R and all this, but be clear, it's more than just the music part. You know, it's a business position that was made at a label. So it's not just about the music department. Of course, you're going to get honed at because you're dealing with music and they love you for your ear, but it's a lot of stuff that comes with it, you know? So be mindful when you call yourself an A&R because you walk into the wrong circle. Somebody, tell me what a royalty is. And you're like,
I ain't gonna lie, some A&Rs out here trashing him, man.
Tell me what publishing is. How much do I get for my part on the beat? Let me ask. You know what I'm saying? That's stuff you need to know off the bat. I need to be in confidence. When I'm talking to my A&R, like, yo, I gave you this beat, and my publishing split is 50% before sample. Like, that A&R needs to be like, okay, I got you. Let me go back to the company and see what I can do. Your advance is going to be 10,000, or your points or royalties is, you know what I mean? If you collab,
so,
you know what I mean?
How does like A&Rs get paid? Like, do they get
A&Rs get paid a salary.
A salary? Yeah. So like, what about like a producer A&R fan base? Because we know like, as far as producers getting placements, A&R is a connect. So let's say I'm a producer and I reach out to you and be like, yo, you work with Uzi. I want to send beats to Uzi. Would an A&R be like, oh, well, let me get a percentage of the record? How would that go?
Sometimes it's all how they do business. I mean, some people just don't have a middleman connected to, I mean, they're the middleman connecting them to the artist, so they ask for a percentage. I don't necessarily feel that's wrong. I call that a broker. And that's what I see it as. And some people need that because people don't have that feel, you know what I'm saying? They don't have a chance to actually get to that artist on their own. But if you're saying, yo, I got beats, I'm gonna give them to Uzi, I'm not charging you for anything. Mm-hmm. Now, there's times where you can give me a beat and I want to change two things. It's like, hey, this snare is wrong. I know the snares that Uzi likes. Let me change the snare. That becomes a co-production. Now, wherever we're willing to work out, that's what we work out. But as an A&R, people do it, but I'm not the person that's going to take percentage because I got you somewhere you can get on your own. I don't know if that's a fair analysis of what the business is, but I don't think it's wrong because some people don't want to meet the artist. You know what I'm saying? So that's where it gets tricky because, you know, just because you're A&R don't mean you're entitled to getting part of the production or, you know, whatever. But, you know.
So, like, have you ever been in a situation where someone talks about the business at a wrong time?
Yes.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
There's been times where I'm trying to create a song for somebody and I need the stems. And the first thing, I'm in there asking for the stems because I'm working on it now and the artist is there and they're in a space and they're like, so what's the business like? Like, before I send my stems over, like how much I'm getting paid or, you know, we getting some paperwork, I'm getting a deck or something. It's like, bro, this not the time. Like in this day and age, like maybe back in the day, people can run off. Nobody's trying to get sued right now for a beat they put out. And nobody's getting their brand ruined by saying, yo, he stole my beat. Like, you know what I'm saying? No, I don't have time for it. You know what I mean? I don't think nobody's like trying to get sued. You making money and they taking it from you. Like, I'm not trying to be in that space. So like, that's a lot of times, especially with an older producer that I know, don't give up stems. You know what I mean? One of the things I stay by young, if you're working on a beat and I sent you some stuff and you're like, yo, can I get the stems? You're getting them immediately. Cause I know the playing field now. You know what I mean? But that's where the business gets in the way sometimes because we talking about something that's premature. Like, we don't even know if we're using the song. We just working on it to see if we can get it there. Right. You talking about some damn money. What's the business? It's like, I feel you, but like,
can it get placed first? Damn.
Yeah, can we get it to a space? And that's just what happens with me. I'm pretty sure it's a lot of other things that have happened, but just for me, the stems conversation or before I write this song, how much I'm gonna get? Or we're using a sample and the sample's making a song and you like, bro, the sample gonna take all the money. Who gives a fuck? We doing it to make the record the best possible record. Whatever comes with it is what God gonna give us. Like, we're not about to sit here and be like, let's take the sample out, man, because it's gonna take all the money. I feel you, but nah.
All right, so boom. So the reason why I asked that is because it was this a clip we posted a while back. It was Southside, $1 Million Worth of Game. And he was asked, what did he ask him? He said, if someone walks in the studio with split sheets, what are you gonna do? And Southside, you know how Southside is. And we posted the clip and everybody said, well, this is what's wrong with shit now, you know? And I feel like it's a blurred line between producers who don't know who's on the outside world. They don't really know when to talk about the business. So like, when does that happen? How does the process go?
Southside's my guy, man. I didn't see that clip, but I would just go on record and say he absolutely right, man. Like I seen his grind, bro. He know about my S-Line days. He knows how when him and Lex Luger and them used to come into S-Line and he used to work with Waka and stuff, and then just doing his own thing. And I watched they grind. And to grow to a certain space and you're in the studio and somebody bringing some split sheets and stuff, it's the wrong time, bro. Like, what are we even talking about right now? Let's get the record. This is, first of all, for a young dude, I'm like, yo, that's Southside. Whatever, bro. You gonna make that shit on Future or whatever. We gonna figure it out. Like, what I'm talking about a split sheet for? Like I'm not even trying to hear that shit. Like, I'm not even trying to ruin my relationship. But we gonna figure it out, you know what I mean? I've never heard nobody speak bad about his business ethics or anything he was doing. So I'd just be like, man, if I was a young dude, I'd be like, hey, get that shit rocking. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even trying to hear that shit. The same thing with me or anybody else. Like, I'm not going in no fucking Metro Boomin session with some split sheets. Like, what the fuck you talking about? Let's figure that out later. We're doing music. Like, all of us come from a certain thing. And that certain thing is we love music.
Yeah.
So we're working to get something. Like, we all struggling to get on people's album. It's hard as shit to get on people's albums, especially, you know, some of these guys that got so many producers coming at them. Like, let's just open the door for optimism and get something going before we've been talking about it. And we figure it out later. And if we have a disagreement or something later, then we can't do business no more. But let's not do that from the rip. Like, you know.
I think it's like that because, like, even though we say, we know it's labels that handle that business, it's a lot of bad business too. And I guess the producer's really looking for the answer, how do I protect myself? You know what I'm saying?
That's one way to protect yourself. I'm not saying that's wrong by saying you don't bring the split sheets in, because there is people that will rip you off, but there's ways to get in touch with stuff now. Like, if there's a big enough artist, I've had some times where we didn't know artists were a part of a record and we got a cease and desist sent to the label or something like that. And then we figured out how to make it work. That's always a way. You know what I mean? Again, we're not giving enough. giving up enough knowledge to the younger producers to know how to protect themselves. And one of the ways is, just have a legal team that you can go to and work it out. I've heard some young people's like, man, I can't pay for no lawyer. But do you know, like, lawyers may work on a retainer or work on the money that they get from this certain situation.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's just how you got to know your business. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a lot of things like that. People do things based on, let's sign a letter and have a letter of direction. If it goes that far as to win in the case, or I get this money, I'll pay you out the money I get. Like, it's things like that that you can do to protect yourself. But like, for the most part, in these spaces, like, don't ruin what could happen based on business. Quincy Jones said this, and he might be too old for a lot of people. He was like, yo, when money comes in the room, God leaves out. And that's where I get stuck. Like, man, I'm creating it here. I'm not creating this beat to make money. Now, if we having a competition, like, woo, this about to be a number one, all that, that's cool. But that's not what we thinking about. Like, I'm making this beat, bro. I'm gonna get 20 for this beat. I'm gonna get 30 for this beat. Like, that's when God rolled out. You know what I'm saying? So that's where, it's a tough thing where producers are trying, protect themselves from getting their work stolen. But there's always ways to fit, especially now. You go on Instagram and say one thing, and somebody trying, take that down. I'm gonna hook it up. I'm gonna make sure you good. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Don't say that now. You gonna get it.
You feel me? Like, it could happen. I'm all forward, for that. But
I want to talk about this situation. It's a little situation in the producer community right now between two producers, Gunboi and Pvlace. And,
okay.
Have you heard of it? All right, so boom. Basically, his producer named Pvlace used to be in 808 Mafia, and he had this producer named Gunboi signed to him. Basically, the whole situation is Gunboi hasn't got credited for a lot of songs. Now, this just came out. It's still, it's two different sides of every story and stuff like that.
1,000%.
But I know you can relate to stuff like that because you relate to the business side with labels and stuff. So, like, if I'm a producer and I'm signed to, like, let's say he's my manager or whatever, and he's getting these production credits for these songs, but I'm not on there, or there's some songs I haven't got paid for and stuff, like, what's the real reality of the situation? Because we even have bigger producers, like TM88 said a couple years ago. You remember when he said he didn't get paid for EXO Tour Life a couple years ago?
Yeah, that sounds weird because we try to pay everybody, but I don't know.
Maybe, it was like, it was just saying, I'll just name an example, but like even bigger producers, you know what I'm saying? It takes a long time, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's different process for each song. So what's the reality of just the real business behind this shit?
The reality is as good as your legal team, again. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you got a legal team, like, the paperwork, first of all, let's start with the paperwork. As hungry as we are, we have to move into these situations knowing the paperwork. Let's not just sign something because I'm going to get on, but then you look up and be like, oh shit, he taking 75% of my money. Those contracts have to be looked at, like, at first before you signing them. Second, there's always going to be a problem, even with the DSPs now, the digital service providers, meaning Apple, Spotify, Tidal, all that. There's been times where a guy that has signed to me, Lil Duff, he do a lot of great records, and we'll do a beat together, and when the credit comes out, it'll just say my name. I didn't entitle to be that because we worked on it together. But sometimes those things come out because people just don't think. Cannon did it. They don't think about all the people I listed for the beat. You know what I'm saying? Or how people I got in the paperwork, they're just doing all the wrong shit. So that makes me feel bad. But I'll also get it changed. I also get it corrected. And it happens a lot because I'm initially the one placing the beat. I'm telling them all the business, but they still not hearing what the hell I'm saying when I say, yo, TB on that joint, loud that joint. You know what I'm saying? They not hearing me. So it's always going to be those. But in the fairness, everybody going to get what they supposed to get. But a lot of times people do make beats with people, and some people are just blinded by, I want to get on so bad that they forget they homeboy. You know what I mean? And that ain't cool. Like, we ain't never supposed to do business like that. You know what I mean? And hopefully in those situations, and, I forget their names, but hopefully they can resolve it in a point where things is even. I don't know the agreement. It can be so many agreements. Like you said, it's two sides of every story. The agreement might be you don't get credit. I don't know the situation, but hopefully it can get resolved. But we got to start looking into this paperwork, and we got to start working with people that see that take the business and the creative as seriously as we do. We're a fair split. What we don't speak about as much is the newer kids that's doing the loops and they sending stuff to us, and we're getting the placement, we're doing the beat. Now, there's some times where that privilege as a superstar producer may have a bulk of the work. Like we may say 70-30, I'm doing more of the work. So that's cool. That's like we're in the yard work and I lay down all the mulch and you just pick 2 flowers. Let me get the bulk of the money work. You know what I'm saying? Because I did it. And you know, that should be fair with it. Next time you go and do all the mulch and I'll pick 2 flowers and you'll get the majority of the work. That's how it should be. You know what I mean? In my eyes. And you should get what is all fairness to somebody like a superstar producer. You know, if I'm a young guy and TM88 is the lead, like I'm not gonna be like, I want half of it, I want half your fee, I want half, like, bro, that's a superstar producer. You know what I mean? That's just what it is until I get up and then we on an even playing field and we're like, yo, Metro and TM did this together, 25-25, we both get our separate fees and we share in the royalty, whatever. That's how it's supposed to be, you know? But yeah, you know, that's where I, you know, I'm at space where it's like just knowing who you working with and knowing that who gonna be fair or who just on some clout shit and just wanna leave you out of everything.
What's like the expiration date for waiting to get paid? Like,
ain't none, bro. It's been times I ain't get paid for 2 years.
What?
And because it's based on a lot of things. Like if I'm on an album and I'm talking about like payments past your advance. So, you know, I was on a couple albums where one of the other songs on the album didn't get signed off on, so nobody could get paid royalties because it wasn't paid out because there's some agreements that were in limbo. And some of them agreements went in limbo because we had 2 hard-headed motherfuckers like, I ain't signing that shit. I want this, I want that. And then I suffer because I ain't getting my royalty. Mm-hmm. So those has happened in certain spots where I was working on a sample of the clearance or something was in limbo there that I didn't get paid. But there's times where you just, you know, the advance is supposed to take care of you, but you don't get it from the rip. Like you could get an advance and you know what I'm saying? In 6 months, you know, one of my guys is still trying to get paid from a record he did last Halloween. We still chasing the record.
So,
you know what I'm saying?
Is this just like hip hop or this with every genre?
I think it's with every genre. It's just, it is what it is. You know, other genres use samples too. You know, a sample might hold up the whole album and nobody get no royalty.
Is it every genre though? Because like I hear like a lot of people say that like they're kind of, you know, done with hip hop because they, like pop gets paid better or like they never have like problems getting paid on time.
Well, if I had to say for the majority of pop and those other genres, not all of them, but most of them have a plan before they make an album.
That's
in
true.
hip hop, we're all magic.
Yeah.
It's whatever feels good.
Ooh,
like if we're going like
that was a nice say right there.
Real nice saying. I like how you put that together.
It's pure magic. So if you think about it, like Katy Perry, when she's going into an album, she has this idea in her mind that Dr. Luke and Max Martin are doing my album, the whole thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go pay them. You're executive producing my album. I'm going to do 12 songs, and that's that. She works with them for 6 months. They do an album, that's that. It's no extra producers all the time coming out of nowhere or somebody doing an extra song for the majority. And I'm not saying everybody's like that, but majority and a lot of things outside of hip hop, people pick a producer. People pick Pharrell to come and do Ariana Grande's album. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So you don't have a lot of those issues where we're going back and forth. You know, she might have 10 songs, Pharrell do 8, and 2 might be done by Rodney Jerkins or Timberland. But it's still not all of that. You know, country albums is one producer or the artist is producing themselves too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So in hip hop, we'll have an album of 17 songs and it'll be 25 producers. Of course there's gonna be issues. Everybody got their own idea of how their business is supposed to be done. Yeah. So that's just, you know, and you know, we tear down hip hop because of all the stuff that we got going on, but like in true feeling, like this is how we make magic. Like Canon might not be able to give you 10 joints. You know what I'm saying? I might have to get TB. I might have to get Sonny. I might have to get Metro. I might, have to get Chi. It just is what it is. Or me and Chi got to do a beat together. Or me and Bobby Critical got to work together. It's just hip hop. Like we synergy. So we just always looking for the magic. And that's what happens. Nobody's like, yo, I'm Jack Harlow. I want to get Take Keith's gonna do my whole album, pay him up front, and that's that. That rarely happens. Yeah. You know, unless they came up together. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
For sure. So the streaming and like iTunes and just the way we listen to music now, does it make the paperwork complicated than it did a couple years ago?
No, it doesn't. It's still the same pay. It's still, I think it's easier. I've seen more completed contracts faster than I had when we were making CDs.
Now, the reason I bring it up, because I remember we did the Sonny interview here. He was saying, man, we need to go back to the mixtapes. And he was saying more on the artistic side, but I just want to know would it make sense on the business side too. But what do you think about that idea?
It don't make sense on the business side, even though we love it. But think about, I've done 600 mixtapes or more in my career. And I was probably did beats on all of them, and I didn't get paid for none of them. Did it add to my business card? Yes, but it would have been great to get paid for some of them drinks. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But yeah, I think that the where we're moving and how streaming is just so fast, and we can retain music and do things. I feel like it'd be a chance for artists to get a chance to get some money off of it. You know. It's still for the love, but you know, it's streaming now. It's like if we can make a living and still enjoy what we love, can't beat that. You know what I mean? So I feel like we need to find out how to do that. The evolution of mixtapes is doing it on a paid platform, like doing the right things, getting certain records licensed, getting producer agreements around joints. That's the ultimate. You know what I mean? So we can get money.
So what about like creative wise, mixtapes or the music we get now as far as like the albums? What you prefer?
Creatives is a way for us to do things that we weren't gonna do on our album. And that's important. It can, again, magic. Like I wanna work with everybody in the city of Atlanta on my tape. But on my album, I just wanna work with Take Keith and DJ Drama and somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Like that's like an important, like, hey, I'm making this music for a certain listener, and it's just something for my block I wanted to do. Mixtape is for the block. You know what I mean? I remember when we was coming up with Jeezy, one of the sayings that stuck with me was that when he was coming up, he was just making music for his hood. You know what I mean? That was it. And it translated everywhere, but his whole mindset was, yo, this for me and the homies. This how we live. I'm making a motivation for them. But that motivation was across the whole country. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I feel that, like, feel that way with things.
What's your favorite mixtape, bro?
They're going to be mad because I was just in Houston. You know, I was just talking about this. Strap or Die is one of them. Slim Thug mixtape, Gangsta Girls we did. Everybody be like, why you pick that?
Hold on, what's Strap or Die? Who that by? Strap or Die. Who is that by?
Strap or Die.
Strap or Die.
Jeezy.
My bad, Ryan.
Trapper. Yeah, I forgot.
You thought you said Strapper died.
Oh, no. Trapper Die Jeezy. Dedication to Wayne.
Okay, yeah.
That's okay. 2. Pharrell, In My Mind, prequel. That's 3. Doo-Wop, Live 95. That's way before your time. That's like one of the first mixtape I heard. It was called Live 95. It was like he had all these freestyles on there. He was fire DJ. He still does like radio stuff. But shout out to Doo-Wop. The Slim Thug tape I always talk about because for some reason I enjoyed making it, but I just heard something like Houston's sound was so important. Like Houston's is part of the actual hip hop culture right now. Like, you know what I mean? It did something for us. It was like Chopped and Screwed was just, bro, it's a staple. You know what I'm saying? So like, you know, just hearing them and what they did for the game, like moving all through Houston, like it's not one non-important person down there that's a part of this game, all of them. And I hate naming people because I always forget everybody's name, but you know, I love what everything in Houston is about. Paul Wall, Bun B, and Pimp, Slim Thug, Zero, Trade the Truth. You know what I'm saying? There's so many people I'm gonna forget, and I know they're gonna be mad, but I just love genres and subgenres in rap. Like I love the 3-6 Mafia, Memphis. You know what I mean? I got cheese and dope. Like, you know,
like they definitely carrying like the sample culture.
Yeah,
right
like
now, you know?
like all of that bleeds into like think about the 21 and Drake album that just came out. It's just elements of that in there. It just feel good. Like all these subgenres we have, even like in Florida, they got the subgenre back in the day, like the Trick Daddy, you know, but in Atlanta got its own sound. So all those things is important. But that one tape that we did was like the first tape that we did that was like in an area that wasn't getting enough props. And I just felt like that tape just embodied that. It was like Slim Thug was just the guy. He was a god down there. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Him, Paul Wall, they was the gods. Mike Jones, we just looked at them guys like, they it. I rock with them niggas. You know what I'm saying? But so that's why I love that tape. Amongst things like, you know, Wayne was just, to me, was just a phenomenal rapper. He's top 5 of my favorite rappers now. He's just, dedication to was everything.
Hey, well, that shit gonna feel weird with like we in our 30s, 40s and they sampling the songs like Future. Like this shit gonna be weird to hear niggas sampling.
That shit is gonna be weird.
Gonna be weird.
That shit's gonna be weird. You know what I mean? Because they sampling old Jeezy shit now. I'm like, damn, I was 25 years old when they came out. Like, I wasn't no young dude. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's crazy.
So let's go back. How did Generation Now come about? Like, what was that plan like?
Generation Now was actually a mixtape that came out in 2002 and 3. So while Dron was making other mixtapes and doing Gangsta Girls, we wanted to highlight artists that were actually not getting a chance because people was turning their heads at them. I don't know if y'all saw the Kanye documentary. He went everywhere and told everybody he was a rapper. They didn't take it seriously. They just wanted his beats. He was on Generation Now first mixtape along with Joe Buttons, which was another guy that never got full props for his lyrical talent. Jay Mills was one of them that wound up, you know, messing with Diddy towards the end. Corey Guns was another guy that had a crazy lineage of his dad making hit records. And who was on Stat Quo, which was signed to Eminem at the time. He's from Atlanta. And he made a lot of noise. He made some great noise as a writer and as a song genius. And we made that series to actually break all the talent that was unheard. And it was like, this is the Generation Now. We could have kept going with Tip that already started going. We could have kept going with 50 Cent that was already going, or these guys. But there were some people that just didn't get that ear. And we used our platform to give these people an ear. And that's where, you know, we just didn't hold on to it all the way down the line. Then when I found Uzi and I brought it to the guys and told them, yo, we should do this thing again, like the record label thing again. We had a hard time coming up with names. It was the point where we was like, man, just sign it. We can call it anything. Call it Cannon, call it Dron. We don't give a damn. And then we remembered that we had that series and it meant so much. So it was like, oh, Generation Now, because we be bringing forth the new artists. Makes total sense. That's how the label,
that's hard.
You know, and you know, when Lear Cohen, he came to the studio one time to see Young Thug and we were working next door and he seen it on the door and he looked at it and was like, Generation Now, what a brilliant name.
Yeah.
And we was like, we got one. So yeah, so, you know, and he wasn't the only person that said that, but that was just like one pivotal moment to me and John. Remember, like coming up, we saw Leo a part of so much stuff. So to hear him say that was a brilliant name meant everything to us. You know?
So y'all had Uzi before his big hit or after, before?
Yes. So Uzi didn't have anything.
So what's that like, Joe? This is like just building. I'm not talking about just being in the studio, but like just behind the scenes that, you know, just the average listener wouldn't think about that happened. You know what I'm saying?
It's easy actually. Nobody wanted. I'm not saying wanted to help us, but we weren't helped. We were building our own. So we wanted to pass that on. Like, we feel like it's a lot of talent out here that we want to help see through. You know what I mean? And that's where it happened. We were once those people. That's why it was easy to make that transition into helping somebody like a Uzi or a Jack. You know, we were just talking about what's better to find an artist on social media or, you know, or on the internet or YouTube. None of our artists came from none of that. we all found them like diamonds in the rough. And I think that's our patented maneuver in the wrestling ring, is that we just find people that didn't have those outlets as of yet, and we made them superstars. So that's where like it feels good to do that, because it's like, man, we actually made this icon. You know what I'm saying? You know, with no faulty thoughts about it. We just all moved in a certain way to make that kid live the best life he could have on a rap side, on a personal side. And that's important.
So I want to like touch on you like building artists, but first, like I want you to tell us, how did you meet Uzi and how did you meet Jack Harlow?
I met Uzi. So I had a residency in Atlantic City DJing at a club, and I just happened to be what I always would do was, since I didn't get a chance to see my mom as much living down here, I always would fly into Philadelphia, say what's up to her, and then drive to 50 miles to Atlantic City. This one particular time I was riding to Atlantic City, and I had the radio on, just checking out the flavor of the city, and DJ Diamond Cuts, which I had a long relationship with, she was playing Uzi on the radio. I had no idea who he was. All I heard was her bringing it back, and his voice did something to my ear, and I was already in unique mode. So I was like, man, who is this kid? So I called the radio. I called Diamond Cuts like, yo, who is that? She was like, it's this kid I'm working with named Uzi. He fire. I was like, bro, I want to meet him. So she was like, all right, cool. She was like, my guy Buzzworthy manages him. We could set up something, da-da-da. I was like, yeah, when I come back from Atlantic City, I want to meet him. So she sets it up. I go, and I want to make this clear because I've said this before, and I got a lot of backlash because I'm old. So when I said I met Uzi in a dungeon, it was like, how could you call that a dungeon? But where I came up in the early 90s, our studios was called the dungeon, the basement. So I want to make that clear, that not disrespecting nobody's studio. I'm just saying, when I met him, I felt like I was in a dungeon. You know what I'm saying? Like even the dungeon here with Outkast, it wasn't an actual dungeon. The house was big as shit, but that's what they called it. So on some hip hop shit, I was like, yo, I went to the dungeon. I met him in some studio in Manioc, which is a part of Philly. I went in there, it was dark, it was a basement, but this guy had put a lot of money into the studio that was rolling with Diamond Cuts. And I went in there, Uzi had his hood on his head. He was just like, just in there, you know what I mean? But we playing records, we going over them. You know, I'm asking him questions. And I think at the time he was working with an artist, he was working with a producer named Charlie Heat. And Charlie Heat was also putting his bid in to sign him on this side, which I really didn't know. I was just doing what I was doing. And I was like, look, I took a position at Def Jam. I would love to have you as an artist. I like what you're doing. It's just something about it that's unique to me. And I would, you know, love to extend my hand for help or whatever. He's like, yeah, no doubt. Like say, like he was just keeping it real, just real tough. And I kept talking to Diamond Cuts and Buzzworthy, and we had a DJ crew named The Academy. Diamond Cuts was a part of it. And we just kept the relationship. We kept talking about it. One time I was like, yo, just bring the kid down to Atlanta. And they drove down in the Jeep. They came down. He came, rocked with us for a little bit. He went back home. He called me like one time, so I'm missing just a small part of the story. He came down, he worked for a little bit. They was about to head back to Philadelphia. He didn't have a cell phone. So I was like, yo, I want to be able to get in touch with this kid no matter what. Plus, he shouldn't be out here without no cell phone. Dude is dope. So I just went and got him a cell phone, gave it to him before they left, and he left or whatever. So when they went back to Philly, he wound up calling me like, yo, you gonna sign me or what, man? I already know what you do, da-da-da-da. But he just ran it down on me, and I was like, yeah, let's do it. Like, I'm hyping shit. I'm like, yeah. You know what I mean? He was like, plus, I'm Kanye on the phone with me. I was talking to him, and Kim Kardashian had called me and told me how dope I was. And I had went to Philly to see him again, and I pulled up on him on South Street in Philly, and he had his cousin with him. His cousin, big tough dude, so he was like, you know what I mean? It was just, you know, it's how we interacted in Philly. And I remember we walking down the street, just chopping it up, figuring out what we was gonna do, how we was gonna make it happen. I went into this one store, and this was the moment I knew. I walked in the store, it was like a sneaker store on South Street. We walk in there, we're chilling, and nobody said, there go Cannon. Everybody's like, yo, that's the kid Uzi. And I'm like, yo, this gotta be staged, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? This gotta be staged to like, you know, what, I don't know what's going on. And they was just like, Uzi, what's up? And they was talking to him like, oh shit, he got like a little following. So I'm like, all right, cool. I go back to Atlanta, I sit Drum and Lake down. I'm like, yo, bro, we gotta do this. Like, bro, I'm telling you, this is the one. Just believe me with this. Just, John was like, no doubt, bro, I ain't tripping. Like, let's do it. Like, run it. I play it for them. They like it. So we wound up getting the deal. You know, John was a consultant at Atlantic for a little bit, and he wound up pushing the deal through Atlantic. So that's where Drum came in. Like, you know, he's the face of it. So he was in Atlantic already, telling me, hey, I got this kid. He fire. Let's sign him. And then we signed him to Generation Now first, and we did the distribution through Atlantic.
So the partnership that Gen Now has with Atlantic came through Drama?
Yes, because he was already working there. You know what I mean? I think he was doing Atlantic while I was doing Def Jam. So we was both like kind of doing those positions to figure it out. And that's how it happened. But I want to go on record too before we get out of this question and say shout out to Diamond Cuts, because we haven't had the best of relationship because of it, because I've done many interviews and haven't. I forget to mention some people's names, or I don't because people get misconstrued, but I want to shout out to her and let her know that she was the pivotal play in me getting next to Uzi and figuring out the next steps for the company. And she was pivotal. So hopefully she see this and she accept my olive branch to cut down the bullshit of me keeping her out of the situation and give her props, because we've talked many nights when she was DJing for Nicki Minaj and she had did some records for her, and I tried to help her through a lot of stuff, and I really love her for that.
We could get some really good music if a lot of people were, able to communicate like that. You get what I'm saying?
No doubt. And it's because I'm real silent. I don't really get a chance to go out and do things because I'm not really the social media person. I'm not that person that's going to speak on any things. I try to move in positivity. And some stuff has came to me where it was like, bro, she not fucking with you, or this, because it wasn't told correctly. I'm telling the real story and with leaving a few things out, but I want her to know that she was a part of that, and I'm always gonna shoot her props no matter what. I'm just the type of person that's falling back, so you're never gonna hear from me where everybody else is speaking. So now I'm speaking, and this y'all exclusive, and it's genuine love for me right there. We spent a lot of time together, even in the Miss Jade days. I was DJing for Miss Jade, that was an artist for Timberland. She was the next runner up to be the DJ because I was leaving the road, and I actually, convinced Jade to take her on the road. So I love Diamond Cuts for that.
That's dope. So how did you meet Jack Harlow?
Jack Harlow, I actually met him later than everybody else. Drum met him before me, you know what I mean? And what happened was he brought, like, yo, I got this kid, Jack Harlow. Same thing I did with Uzi. I want all us to sit and meet. So he goes into he brings him to the office, and we met him in the office, and I felt it was something very unique about this kid. He came in with his own producer. He said in one of his raps, and I brought my own little Metro, 2 for 1. It was like his own Metro Boomin. We sat there, we met with him. He was really, really articulate, and he was really, really honest for where he wanted to go and where he wanted to be. We left the meeting. He knew in his mind that he was going to be signed to DJ Drama. That was just what he always was saying. Like, I'm signing the Drum. Let's figure it out, but I'm signing the Drum. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I met him. I built a great relationship with him in mentorship. Never really got to produce a lot for him because he already had a situation, and I'm the person that's never going to get in the way of that. But I just add little sprinkles and things here and there to help the process move. But in mentorship, we have long, engaging conversations about where music is going, the state of music, what sounds, what textures, how he's supposed to come on a record, all that stuff, man. It's important. And we had those conversations even over the pandemic. We've had hours of conversations. We probably burnt a couple phone batteries talking so much about shit. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I met him. John brought him around, and that was it. That was the synergy.
It's a little off topic, but like it should be funny because like you ever been like talking to someone like a producer and you bring up like an artist and they be like, man, I know him, man. He asked me for beats 4 years ago, and I be trying not to laugh and be like, "You must like open the DM, nigga."
It's funny. It's funny when I meet. It's funny you said that. I meet people and they be like, "Bro, I've been DMing you. Well, I've been sending you beats forever." Like Boy Wonders said he was sending me and Drum beats on MySpace. You know what I mean? And we never saw
MySpace.
them. You know what I'm saying? We never.
That's a minute ago.
Hey, hold on, bro. Hold on. What was y'all MySpace using that though, man?
My shit was
I
Doncannon.
don't even remember
think.
mine.
You don't remember that?
It probably was something like little spoiled brat. That was like all my usernames. Little spoiled brat.
That's hard. Little spoiled brat.
That's gonna be my producer name. They sleep on me, but
Yeah.
You ain't know she made beats?
I didn't know that, but I figured something was going on with the producers thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
You
yeah,
see
that's
a process
a
of
lot of
making
people.
it's a
beats.
little process.
Bro, I miss a lot of artists, bro. It's so many people that hit me in the DM with shit, and I'll go back and look, and I'm like, oh shit, dude, actually sent me some music, and this nigga's a superstar. You know what I'm saying?
I remember that post. It was like, they sent they screenshot like a DM of NBA YoungBoy wanting to sign to like Soulja Boy back before.
I seen that.
It was like 2014, 15. It'd be like,
Yeah, it starts like that. You know what I mean? But as you get up the ladder, you're gonna miss some stuff, bro.
Yeah.
I don't think nobody's supposed to have everything.
And everything happens for a
You know what I'm
reason, you
saying?
know?
I'm pretty sure we could have signed everybody, you know. But hey, man.
so before I get to this next question, I just want
Wait.
to like,
Before you even get into that, I just gotta ask this one question.
Right.
Okay. What has been some of your favorite moments building Generation Now as a label?
The favorite moments came within recent and came from in the beginning. My first, my biggest thing is I almost shed a thug tear when Love is Rage 2 came out because people was saying that we weren't going to be able to sell a certain amount of records or wasn't going to go number one, and it did. And it was just honestly a lot of hard work. I sacrificed a lot of stuff on the music side to get there, and people, it went unnoticed. And I'm not going to be the spoiled brat to tell people every little thing that went there. Like I lost a lot of things in my life to build that album, and it just felt incredible to get there and to see him go to some of the early festivals before they became what they became, and have 60,000 people out there at Coachella really rocking with this music, and watching him captivate the crowd and not be a shy person or a shy rapper and just taking it over was one of the most fulfilling feelings that I could ever have. The second is recently, unfortunately, Jack's career was built during the pandemic. And during the pandemic, I would not leave because I wasn't trying to get sick. I wasn't trying to be around nobody. I just was in a certain space where I was like, I'm not coming outside. So I missed all his first tours. I missed a lot of performances. I was there for the building of the music, but I didn't get the actual feeling. So the best feeling was to see First Class being performed at the VMAs, and I was in the crowd and didn't tell him I was coming. And the fact that I came, he was just so excited, and just the fact of me seeing him perform up there with Fergie just felt incredible, bro.
That's
It
iconic.
felt incredible to see that. So those are my major feelings, and just signing all these artists is just seeing where they're about to be is the most exciting thing ever. Because we're here right now, and people coming in like, yeah, they do it to me now, and I'm just gonna be in complete transparency. They be like, why Sonny won't be a producer? Why he just, why he won't be an artist? I can't wait till we drop his album and everybody be like, oh shit.
I ain't gonna count, man.
That.
I mean, when we did it,
I'm
that
excited for
nigga was
it.
playing something in there, bro.
Bro,
I was feeling like,
they got him fucked up. And I can't wait. I can't wait, bro.
Bro, this nigga was playing something.
I can't wait.
Man, bro,
I can't
I
wait.
ain't gonna speak.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait. Those are the moments I stay shut. I keep my mouth shut for, and waited to develop it into what it's developed. And then when it's really developed, it's like, oh, I didn't see that one coming. I know you didn't. You know what I'm saying? Or same thing with Seti Hendrix and Carvina and Killa. Like Killa's been killing TikTok and YouTube and all these things for so long. I can't wait for her music to connect on another level where they be like, oh, that's what they saw on her. You know what I mean? So those are the feelings that I love.
Hold on, so Seti, you said, who's the other artist on
Seti,
that?
Killuminati,
Uh-huh.
Sonny, and we got a R&B artist named Carvina, which is amazing.
For sure.
Yeah, it's
I'm gonna
amazing.
make sure I hop on the wave for.
Yeah,
I ain't
yeah,
trying to hop
for
on
sure,
the-
before everybody else comes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we haven't let any music out, but she's incredible, bro. She's incredible.
That's hard. All right, so the backtrack, because I feel like we jumped from, I want to get the story from you on your couch, drama couch, all the way to 2013. Like, we got to get all the major placements in that. So just backtrack a little bit and cover that real quick.
All right, so me being on Drama's couch, it probably lasted like 2 months, maybe less than that. I used to pack up his CDs because I wasn't really going hard on the mixtapes that just yet. And I had no money and I had no car to move around. So I think I packed up and worked for him so much that he wanted to give me his Mitsubishi truck. And I had that joint until it blew up. You know what I'm saying? But just being part of the mixtapes, producing, having Tip coming through his crib, having David Banner come to his crib, having Jeezy come to his crib, all these people were coming to there before I made my own money, and I made the studio house, which was an apartment, and then Drum would come there and record. We would do Shade 45 at the house. I had everybody from Raekwon to Ness. You know, I don't know if people remember him from Making It a Band, from those type of calibers all the way to, you know, any and everybody, like Remy Ma been in my house before all that stuff, like before she blew up, like it was apartment, I keep saying house, but anybody and everybody was recording in between the two houses, and we built the synergy. In 2007, when we had the raid, it was a pivotal point where we didn't know who to trust. So we started pointing fingers at each other, thinking each other did something wrong to each other. So we fell out for about 3 years, from 2008, for about 2000, the end of 2007 to about 2012, maybe. We would always see each other, but we would just want to speak, but it wasn't beef. It was just always the issue of not knowing what actually happened. You know what I mean? But we moved forward in 2012. It's the funniest thing. When we went to sit down and try to reconcile everything. We sat down at Jersey Mike's, had a sandwich. And by the time we got our sandwiches and sat down, we was like, so what we talking about? We had nothing to talk about. We really had no issue with each other. So we was just like, oh man, we left there. And then he's like, yo, I want to show you something. So I'm like, all right, cool. He brings me down to the first building on Main Streets. And he's like, bro, look what I'm building. And he's building this crazy spot. He only has the radio room, a lounge, and a studio at the time. I'm like, bro, you know I know what I'm doing. I can do this. We can move this from here. We can do da-da-da-da. And then we started connecting. And then we moved right back into a good synergy. You know what I mean? So that's what it was about. And, you know, in between there, all the placements ranged from Jeezy and Jay-Z all the way to Macy Gray, to remixes for Maroon 5, to Fabulous, to Pusha T, to Kanye, Tip. So many.
Where you keep the plaques at, though?
I got a lot of plaques at the house that people never seen, but I got a lot of plaques here too. They're everywhere, but it's just, you know, it's a shared thing here. It's like everybody's awards are shared here. Like we got Leslie Brathwaite, which is part of our team, which is award-winning mixer. He got 17 Grammys. You know, I never had one. Drum got one. I got nominated 7 times and still didn't win. I'm on some Spike Lee. You know what I'm saying? Before he won shit, but Drum finally got his with Tyler. So like it's a shared award situation around here. But my crib, I got plaques. But again, plaques don't define who I am and what I've done to me. It's just showing me the actual award that came with that current time, that time. And it's like, if I hang them or if I don't hang them, I already know in my brain what I did. You know what I mean? So I want to just continue to do it. Plaques are good and all, but we still got a long way to go with this stuff. You know what I mean? So, you know, I got them, but it's like, you know, it's just like, whatever.
All right, so let me ask you this. Now that we caught up with it, what's the best feeling like when you had that major hit that you produced, or when you had that major hit with like Uzi or Jack Harlow?
So Jeezy and Jay-Z was the first major hit I had, and it felt incredible because I grew up listening to Jay-Z. And for some period of time, you know, as a creative, you go through this stuff back and forth like, am I really that good? Am I really supposed to be here? What am I supposed to be doing? For real. And when I heard, like, even Jeezy making that record, I still felt like, oh, okay, it's a rapper, he's making it, he's pretty popular. But somebody that had so much credit for so many years, do my first record out was like, oh, I'm supposed to be here. Ain't no way in hell he gonna do this record and I'm not going to fucking take advantage of this shit. I'm about to pop. I'm about to do everything I can to stay in this position. And that was the one all the way up until that time. I didn't know I was supposed to be here. I just thought, hey, I'm gonna make beats. I might make some mixtapes. I might become, I might work a corporate job later. I don't know what's gonna happen. I never wanted to, but I didn't know I was always gonna be here. I just did it. I did music because I loved it. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't really have no thought process of what I was supposed to be. So once I crossed the threshold, I was like, oh, I want to be the best producer ever. You know what I'm saying? Best producer DJ ever. That's what I was thinking. So, in between that, I just had bad placements, bro. Just kept, people were calling, when I did Wayne, I tell everybody when I did Wayne Cannon beat, every artist that I ever wanted to work with rapped on that beat. So I felt like, I had to check off a lot of people that I wanted to work with. Like, even when Go Crazy, like I had everybody rapping on 2 beats for 7 years.
But I was talking to somebody about this shit. I was like, bro, that's the best feeling when it's a hard ass song and then everybody want to remix that shit.
Everybody remixed Go Crazy, bro. Fat Joe, all these people I grew up listening to remixed the record. So I was like, oh shit. Mary J. Blige was on that joint. You know what I'm saying? It's just a lot of stuff going on. Cannon beat, especially, I probably had over 500,000 rappers on that beat, maybe. Young and top of the line. So those things right there was like, oh yeah, I'm definitely supposed to be here. You know what I'm saying? So I have, like I said, there's placements everywhere. I did things with movies, all the way up into Uzi. But the best feeling, again, I have to say that was that one record, and then the first record I did with Uzi, which was we did a bunch of records, but Money Longer was the first thing we put on SoundCloud. They had like 100,000 listens in like 30 to 40 seconds.
I ain't gonna keep you down, bro.
And I was like, holy shit, we did something here.
Man, Uzi, what, 2015? I was like in the
chokehold.
Yeah, had me in the choke. I was crying, bro. I'm like, I'm looking at this dude in the room. I'm the one like, damn, we did it. He like, man, we was going to do it. You tripping. I'm sitting there like, where you getting this confidence from? That's how I knew he was going to be that dude. You know what I'm saying? Me, I was like, wow, we fucking did it. That shit had 100,000 plays in less than a minute, bro. It was like, what is going on? It was like everybody was waiting for that record, and it was just, we watching it. I kept hitting refresh. That shit was 60,000, 70,000, 90. By tomorrow, it was like 500,000, and it just kept going. I'm like, oh shit, we on some shit right now. You know what I mean? So that was very important. Those 2 records right there just kind of helped solidify that I was supposed to be here. But those crazy records right there.
And Uzi carried me on the back of the bud, but I figure them AirPods, the gummies, the one, like, them shits were loud as hell.
Oh, the color ones, yes.
Uzi carried, man. Uzi carried.
Blasted, Money Got Longer, for real.
Yeah, those 2 records, those were important.
So you was talking earlier about, what was it, Love is Rage 2, right?
Yep.
So like, I wanted to ask, like, what are the steps when it comes to building an artist? Because you said you went through a lot of stuff just personally, and I ain't saying get into details, even talk about this situation, but just talk about like, okay, like what's the rollout plan like, or, just.
The rollout plan is very important. We just got finished talking about that earlier. Rollout for every, like, you look at, I guess because we're in a current state, and I don't know when this is airing, but 21 Savage and Drake's rollout for this was amazing. They did the Howard Stern, everything. They did the Vogue magazine. Everything was fake, but that shit was fire. Like, that allowed us to get ready for the album that he put out that everybody loves right now. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I think that our rollout with Uzi, it came at a period where we was just dropping without people knowing. And it just hit like, oh shit, what? Why did this come out? Why don't I know about this? I don't have a pre-saved link. And that was our marketing. It was like, surprise, motherfuckers, we out. Like, you know what I'm saying? and making the album was just have everything in there that we didn't do in the previous 3 mixtapes. You know what I mean? And it was like, bro, you have to have that record that everybody will be like this in a stadium doing instead of this and mosh pitting. And I felt like that was the joint with Nicki Minaj. Like, it
that was
struck
definitely it.
It struck a nerve for certain people. Some people heard that joint was like, whoa, that just hurt. You know what I'm saying? That was
I shed a thug tear for that one sometimes.
That's a thug tear right there. And then his dear mama at the end was just like, you know, talking about his mama. We don't have those. We took elements of stuff that came out back in the day where the last track on the album was always either a religious record, an uplifting record, or something about their mom. And that's something that the young kids wasn't doing. We was just turning up and didn't have anything to do with family. So it was like he loved his mom, he loved his grandma a lot. So he wanted to be able to have a record where he touched on that. And those is important because it shows depth. You know what I'm saying? So those are the pieces that we left. We had one turn up record that was in there. In the middle, we had Sauce It Up, was just, you know, it's a commercial bounce. The intro just let people have it. We had 444-222, which was a record that you hear at all the basketball games. Breathe in, breathe out, shake that ass. Like it was, we was putting everything into this album that everybody can enjoy. And sometimes when we do these mixtapes and things, again, we're doing things for our block. We're doing things for certain people. And we wanted to captivate people because he was flying all over the world and people was recognizing him. And we wanted people to notice stuff. You know what I mean? And one thing people don't know is like when you go overseas, people speak different languages and all they hear is melody. They don't know the words because they don't speak English. So we was like, hey, we embodying records with these type of sounds that can be heard all over the world without you understanding English.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like you go to Japan, it's gonna be like, sauce it up, do too much. All you're hearing is do-do-do, do-do-do, because they don't know English, but it's jamming to them. You know what I'm saying? So it's just it's one thing you'll learn all across the world. Like I'm in different places and I've DJ places and I'm in these countries and they only hear the melody and it got them in the heart. They don't know the words, you know what I'm saying? So we did that with the album. Like we did that. We made sure we covered all the angles. He was always friends with Abel. The Weeknd, we was like, yo, you got to get a record with him. Wonder Girl was, since a youngin', always been around us. We always had to, we brought her in for every project. So what would Lover's Rage 2 be without Wonder Girl on there? Pierre was on there. He was coming around. And he just always had some fire ass drums. And I was like, bro, it's fire. You gotta have him on the album.
Mm-hmm.
Metro was part of the family. He's always been around. You know what I'm saying? C Note, which made 20 minutes. He's always been around. These are all people that's part of the project. We ain't gonna get to the album and like, hey, we're not gonna use that person that was on the first album and not. We used all the elements. Even if it wasn't like them producing, they were around for the making of the added energy to that album. So that's where we got to get into as a culture is saluting the people that are part of the album. Like if you're in there while we're making Steady's album, y'all was there for days and days out, like you're part of the energy there. Like you didn't have to say a word. You could have been eating popcorn the whole time, but that popcorn helped us get through to the hit record. You're part of that making of the album. So all that stuff is in there, and Love is Rage was embodying everything that was around at the time. I mean,
I'm glad that you said that because a lot of artists, they typically like don't use the same people that were on like those projects that made them. Like, I don't really want to get into the specifics because I don't want no shade.
Well, you don't. Like, it's not no shade, but people don't know what to do as an artist. If you're looking for an elevated sound and that person you came up with is not giving you the elevated sound, they don't figure out how to get the elevated sound from that person. So like, if we're working in the first couple albums and it's like, hey, this person isn't making where I'm going, I'm there to be like, yo,
that is facts though.
Homeboy, let's get over here and make it together because I know where he's going. Let's make it together, and then you get a piece of the moment. We don't know how to do that because we're rushing to get a project out. We going for what the newest sound is and where the progression is, instead of saying, I can add you to this. Like, let me add, Sean that was from the first album with Weezy Beats. Now I got a Weezy and Sean album record and it sounds good. Like, we don't stop as artists and say, yo, I can make all this stuff work. I can bring who came with me and where I'm going, and hopefully all the sound can coexist and make it better. So that's where I think that we don't do enough, and we need to start. Hopefully me saying that will help somebody be like, oh yeah.
I hope so.
You know what I'm saying?
Because that was a big gem. Like, that was a real big
That's
gem.
why I fought with this interview, because I feel like you giving a different perspective than,
Right.
you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah. I mean, I'm old as hell, so I got a different perspective anyway. I'll just play. Yeah,
So you
it's
had mentioned earlier about the 21 Savage and Drake, and then I know you were saying you was excited about the plays, Love Is Rage was getting. I remember DJ Academics was posting. So I think Drake is on the verge of doing like 370, 390K first sale week, and he posted. I know DJ Academics posted like last week or two. I don't know the exact dates, but basically Taylor Swift did $1 million in a week.
Yep.
Like I don't know. I just want to talk about this shit. Like, do you think hip hop is leading the music? Like in this world?
I still think it's the #1 culture in the world. You know what I mean? They don't tell us a lot of things about our culture that we can help sell. I mean, streams just not doing it right now for everything. We gotta look back into where we once made all the money too. Like, we could do streams. We can't just let it be all about streams. You gotta lead into albums. Like Taylor Swift did 4 different type of albums, but had the same thing on there. And when you buy all 4 of them, it made a clock. You know what I mean? So people would buy all 4 of them at a discount of $5. The vinyls wasn't $20. So that helped her sales. You know what I'm saying? Tyler, the Creator, before, a couple albums back when he went #1, people was like, oh, how is he doing this? He sold albums, you know what I'm saying? Along with what was going on. So it's all about how you're pushing it, Instagram alone just not gonna do it. Is it a marketing tool or a driver? Yes. But TikTok ain't gonna resolve your issue for sales. And I also think sales don't dictate a great album. Like, you know what I mean? Just because it don't sell. Like, if the Drake and 21 album didn't do anything, like, people are enjoying the album. Let's enjoy the album and push the culture. You know what I mean? We got into a space where numbers dictate to people that, there wasn't a good album. It's not. If it's good, it's good. You know what I'm saying? But on their side, it's like, on the pop side, numbers is everything, because that's where you get into spaces where they get a higher space of TV time, or, whatever comes with it, But in rap, we always, we tearing down our fellow rappers and producers by numbers. Like, I wouldn't necessarily hate nobody's album. Now, there's times where me personally, where I feel like I don't like certain albums, or I felt like that, but I'm in a terrible position because my brain doesn't allow me to think in a consumer space sometimes. It only allows me to think that I possibly can make that better, No ID had told me the story about him in the Apple store, and he was talking to a girl, and I think they were talking one particular album, and she asked him if he liked it, and he was like, it's not my taste, it's not for me. And one thing that made him change his mind was she was a consumer, and she was like, well, you're coming from a place where you can actually make the album better. I don't do music, I'm just listening, so that's why I love the album so much. And it changed my thought process when he told me, because I was like, damn, you know what I'm saying? She might not have the ability to make that album better, so she's enjoying it with all her heart. And, who am I saying, well, I could have made that beat better, or I could have made that transition better, telling me that album's bad. And the influence I have, people looking at me like, damn, you think it's whack, man. What the fuck do I got to look for? You know what I'm saying? So I got in that, I started trying to get out that space of not thinking as a consumer. I create, so I'm always looking to make everything better. That's what we do. I'm sure you do it when you walk in rooms, you hear a beat you might not like. It's like, bro, I could do it better. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, fact. So that's how we judge in our music now. And that's where the numbers come into play. It's like, he ain't do the numbers that Lil Baby did, or he ain't do the numbers that so-and-so did. Does that make it a bad album? No. It just says that maybe Lil Baby has more fans than that guy, but he still got a nice album. Right. Let's not, like, the numbers has always been a machismo. Like, we could, stick our chest out and be like, yeah, I did this, and it makes it look good. But it also, some albums that did numbers that were terrible albums. You know what I mean? But, salute to everybody that's doing it. That's a great number for them to do, because a lot of people don't expect them to make the album they did. And they two talented dudes, man. So I'm glad they was able to get that off and have a sound like, I'm hearing a lot of people just talk about just us, the music getting stagnant, and to be able to offer new sounds is just always my vibe. Like, you know what I'm saying? Let's push the culture forward. Because we don't have it, guess where we gonna be? We ain't gonna be doing podcasts. We ain't gonna be producing. We're gonna be working somewhere that we don't want to work. You know what I'm saying? So anytime we get a chance, let's just salute them if they doing the right thing or it sounds remotely good. Let's push. You know what I mean?
So let me ask you this, like back to like just going to like the label situation. What does it take for like the artist to get a label attention? Or like what do you look for in the artist?
We always talk about this, but one thing for me is conviction. And the conviction is basically knowing that artist is doing well. I heard a story about when they went to go sign DMX, his jaw was wired, but he didn't let that stop him from rapping. He came outside and freestyled for the executives. And as he was rapping, you just hear stories about the wires popping in his jaw. He was literally breaking his jaw to get his vocals out and show you that he was that ill. And that's the type of stuff I look for, the people that really, really believe in themselves and really know where they're going. You know what I mean? That's important, you know, to have that type of conviction with you as an artist, you know? And I love that. That's the only thing I stand for. Like, you know, second to that, if we talking skill, I listen to vocals first. Drum may hear something different. He may like their bop a little different. Me, I'm listening for the uniqueness in the voice. Because we got the uniqueness in the voice, we automatically having a different sound. You know, everybody, we don't know that. We love people's music, but we don't know that their voice captured us first. Like, you know, you hear Future's voice, you know that motherfucker about to be hot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
You hear
Future and Uzi the only two niggas that their voice could crack on the beat, and that shit was hard. Like, you would thought they did that shit on purpose.
And when you see them dudes in person, like you gonna meet Future, he gonna sound like the record. If he having a regular convo with you, he gonna sound like the record. And I like that about things when people are able to sound like the record. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like all those things is unique. All the people that we enjoying now, have a lot of it is based on their vocals and what it do to us first, like what we're hearing first of all. You know what I mean?
I want to get your perspective on this. Like, I feel like when it comes down to artists and some shit go wrong, the label is the first person to get the fuck my label. My label did
Always.
this shit. I want your perspective. I want your perspective on it though.
Always. I mean, I'm 50-50. Sometimes the label is the problem. Sometimes the artist needs to, you know, get the pressure off their back. You know what I mean? But, you know, it's just all part of the business. You know, you can never rely on one thing to help your career go to the furthest extent that you wanted to go on. I don't think blaming it's going to solve anything. Some people are 100%, 1000% right of them doing, some people getting done dirty or in a bad space. But again, I'm not in a business, but it happens, you know what I mean? But march on as best as you can to get there. It happens though. Like I said, like some artists do other artists dirty. Some labels do labels dirty. Some labels do artists dirty. Some artists do labels dirty. So it's just a game, you know. It's one of those games. It's a trenches game. Like everything's in the trenches, you know. It's just hip hop. But I could say one thing that we never done was we never did no artist wrong, not from my perspective. You know what I mean? Even when the stories came out about we doing Uzi wrong, there was nothing done wrong. You know what I mean? We had a fair contract. We moved forward from that, and you could see that, you know, it was nothing. If you stealing money from somebody, that's a high claim. You know what I'm saying? Somebody's never gonna be friends with you again if you stealing somebody's money. It just don't work like that. So the fact that things come out, and you know, artists have a lot to learn, labels have a lot to learn about the artists, and as we move forward, we're getting to a place where more artists are understanding their rights, what their money means, what certain things mean. So we're moving in a positive way to understand, so we don't get in this space where labels are still being grimy to the artists, or you know, vice versa.
I'm looking at this joint, man. We 2 hours, 10 minutes in. What that nigga is fitting gym, man.
The gyms are so crazy though. Like this gonna follow you through life. I mean, like you laying down the blueprint right now, you know?
Yeah.
Especially for like, cause the younger generation, like things are done so differently nowadays, and I don't feel like they're necessarily done right.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so it's kind of like this interview is going to pave the way, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
It's a random
1000%.
question. You a sneakerhead?
I am.
For
Yeah, it's a
sure.
lot of sneakers.
I'm not a so again, let me break this down. I'm not a collector. And why I'm not a collector is because I wear my shit. And I buy stuff because I want to be fresh. I don't buy stuff for the story. I got people around me that really dive into the story of the sneaker and want to wear it. I ain't into that. You know, there's some sneakers on the wall. 3 of them are actually all of them are my favorite. That don't mean they're on the wall for that reason. But Virgil's one of the that shoe meant so much to a lot of people. The Museum of Modern Arts, and the Red October was one of the illest shoes Kanye made. The Air Mags was from Back to the Future. Y'all too young to see that movie.
I've seen Back to the Future.
But
I love
that was the
movie.
sneak that we all was like, yo, what the hell is he doing? The Yeezy 1 was one of the first sneakers I ever got. It was important. This Jordan here, Jordan 8 is good. That colorway, I don't know if they were trying to emulate the Phoenix Suns colorway, but the original colorway was fire. It was the red and black and the white with the gray and the black. So I know everything about the sneaker. I'm just not a worshiper. Like, I'm not the person that's, I'm not putting it in the case. I wore every shoe I have. You know what I'm saying? Some people will leave that stuff and just not touch it. Now I'm wearing everything. You
be cleaning them yourself too?
Yeah, I rock it, don't stock it. I don't even clean them. I come out dirty. Cause it showed, like, when your sneakers are dirty from that caliber, like a high-end sneak, it shows the work that you put in to get them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I wear those dirty. Like, nah, man, they wrinkled. Yeah, I got these when they first came out. They worth $10,000, but I'm still rocking them, and they got my footprint in them. Nobody else is in these joints. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I get all that stock and shit. That's for the real collectors. I'm not a collector. I can tell you about a sneak, but I want all of them.
It's like taking 10 bands and they just put it in the shelf right there.
Yeah, like, nah, bro, not even. Like, if I'm gonna pay for these Red Octobers and they $6,000, I'm rocking them.
I feel you. I'm with you 100% on
I
that.
know,
one.
Definitely 100%. Like,
I'm rocking them shits. That's like buying an expensive plugin and like, I ain't never using this song. It sounds in this motherfucker. I'm gonna just let it sit. And
Hey, you know
just
what's
show
crazy?
people I got it.
When I started buying plugins, I use them, bro. Cause like when you crack a plugin, it's like, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna. But if I brought the plugin, they go off to use that shit. But I just pay my bread.
It's
bro.
crazy. I know everybody don't got the money for it, but I'm gonna tell a story that I always want to live by. When I was cracking plugins, bro, I had the worst time making beats. My shit would crash. I had all that shit. Bro, the minute I started buying that shit and took all that shit off my computer, man, I had the best life in the world. I ain't had a crash since.
Nah, I ain't gonna lie. That shit backwards now though, bro.
Yeah.
Like most of the shit you buy, the crack work better. That's some of them. I ain't gonna put y'all out there.
Loops.
Yeah.
I'm saying, I'm just
it's like certain like VST plugins. Like I don't know, they crack. Y'all crackers work better. Fix y'all shit.
they probably making them better. But I started buying all that shit, you know what I mean? Like even back in the day, we used to get computers. They used to be on the street. You could get them hot and shit like that. Then my shit wound up getting stolen. Said, you never should have bought that motherfucker, bro. Go buy that shit from the store.
Karma's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like that's the thing on the sneakers. Like I ain't, right now I got on some protection pack New Balance. That ain't probably nobody's favorite sneak, but I just buy shit because I like it and I want to wear it. I'm not competing with nobody.
Right.
I feel it. So any other like side hobbies you got going
on? Side hobbies? Nah, like I just like I work out. I got the app, I got the music. I study a lot, like for my age, like, I'm able to sit with somebody that's 14, like Mappa, and talk about the same people he's studying on the internet to make beats. Cause I look at them too. I watch a lot of documentaries. Financial wealth is something that I like speaking with people about because it's very important. And I think that people don't get a chance to do good things with their money because we are oppressed. I'm just speaking on the black side. We are oppressed as people to feel like we always got to have cash or we always got to have a stash or, you don't want to invest because you can't touch it in 5 years or 3 years and you get upset. Like we got to learn how to do some good financial things. I went on Earn Your Leisure and I did a great interview and them guys are smart as hell talking about, and I wanted to learn about finance because I've always been in finance. I started investing in 2005 and I just always wanted to be an investing person. You know what I'm saying? Always teaching people, I'm not no financial guru, but if we having a conversation about finance, the one thing I can, do is try to tell the young folks, don't live on my mistakes. I would buy a truck, crash it, get a new one, spend all this money here and there. And then, as industry people, we have to buy certain things. Like I love clothes. I'll continue to buy it, but I make sure I buy as many clothes as I'm investing some money too. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So what's some stuff you like to do for fun?
I used to play basketball for fun, but everybody want to go to NBA and I don't want to get hurt. So I don't go to Lifetime Fitness and play with people no more.
But them niggas be trying so hard,
They
bro.
trying to be in the NBA. It's like, bro,
like they gonna get discovered in the
Yeah,
gym.
like, bro, like, I'm not in that space, but man, I love basketball. I love watching the NBA.
What's your team?
Lakers, always been my team.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
Lakers been my team since '96.
So you a Kobe fan?
Yeah, I played with Kobe. He was the reason that I actually went to the Lakers, because in high school I watched his come up and I watched him get to the NBA and win a championship. Right there was like,
that nigga
wow.
just said, I played with Kobe. Just said that shit so smooth.
Yeah, he
like,
wasn't on my team. He played for Lower Marion. I played for Roxborough, but we had a league out there called Sunny Hill, and we always played each other. His sister would come to his games. He was there. It was a lot of basketball players that used to give him hell out there. You'll even hear him say that, some of the toughest defenders he played was in high school. It was like Donnie Carr and some other people. But I watched his growth and I followed his growth. Most kids, when I came up, Michael Jordan was their favorite player. Charles Barkley was my favorite player. And I wore everything Charles Barkley, but we were all independent. So like if me and you was hanging out and you wore Jordans, I'd never get in your bag. I'd just wear pennies, or I'd wear, if she wore, Adidas, I'd wear Fila. It's just what we came up to. Everybody right now is just doing what everybody else is do, but it was like, oh, y'all like Jordan? Fuck it, I don't like Jordan. I like Charles Barkley. But I really like Jordan, but I like Charles Barkley. That's my player. So I would get everything Barkley was doing. And then when Philly traded him, I was like, I ain't fucking with the Sixers no more. They trade my favorite player? Oh, hell no. You know what I'm saying? So I just started, rocking with the Lakers when Kobe went there, and he never got traded. He stayed there. So it's been my team since '96.
I was just telling, we was at IHOP and I was telling them about this film. It's about the 08 Dream Team on Netflix, the Redeem Team.
Yep.
And this is one part. It's when LeBron, Wade, Carmelo, basically the younger team, they went out partying that night and they had to go to practice that next day. So they going into the hotel at like 4 a.m. And bro, it's just the way they set up the scene. Like they said the elevator open and Kobe coming out the elevator. So the nigga leaving the hotel 4 a.m. and nigga sweating, ready to go lift weights, then go practice. And I was just like, that just make a nigga like, it had me like, damn, I ain't gonna make some beats or some shit. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm gonna honestly tell you, I ain't never said this to nobody on camera either, that when they won their first championship, I cried. Like, I'm a grown man. I cried because I actually seen where he came from. I used to be at St. Joe's College in Philadelphia, and I used to go to the gym. I used to play, and I used to thought I was a hard worker. And I used to see Kobe shooting jump shots by himself in there, and for hours. I leave, play 6 games on the other side, come back, he's still in there. And I never walked up on him, disturbed him, none of that. I just was just looking like, wow. So the fact that he made it to the NBA and did that championship made me feel like, man, I watched all that. I watched the games where they gave him hell. He was at the end of the bench crying because he wanted to be the greatest basketball player. And it was just people better than him at that time. But he worked so hard to get there. You know what I mean? And when I seen that, I was like, wow, I really can do this shit. Like, I really can make it in music.
Yeah, that shit is motivational.
Yeah, so that was like, when people say, yo, when the videos come out, you seeing him really working 2 hours, again, rest 2 hours more, rest 2 hours more, that was really him. I was really him.
I ain't gonna lie, that shit just...
Yeah, that's I don't know if it's the light of my eye, but damn.
That's a motivation, bro. That's motivation. You know what I mean?
But to wrap up the interview, you want to ask the last one?
Oh, yes. Okay. So TV said that you're going to answer this humbly, but I don't want you to answer this humbly. I want you to tell us, why do you classify as a legend?
Why I classify as a legend? The one thing I say that makes me a legend is just how many people I put on. I think anywhere I go in the world, and anybody know about me, they know how many people I put on. and how many people I helped to get there. That's what makes me a legend. It's nothing I could have did on my own to make me a legend. One of the things is being a servant. You know, I speak about God a lot, but that's one thing is being a servant. And anybody that's coming, you can ask them. You can ask Metro how, you know, I helped him. You know, I spoke with his mother about it. You know, rest in peace to his mother, about helping him at 17 years old. You know, he came to my crib. He sat on my couch. I gave him drums. We talked. I got him and helped him get his first placement, which was Alley Boy on Atlantic. And, you know, you can ask Hit Boy. I met Hit Boy out here and Chase. Like, these is guys that I helped. I just used what I had to help them guys. I just felt like a lot of people were just talented people. You can look at somebody like Reese LaFleur, which I helped him. You know what I mean? I helped just anybody that's coming up, anybody that has any kind of involvement with me, I helped them. Like 1,500 or nothing. They one of the biggest things out. I did everything I could to help them get to a place where I was. You know what I'm saying? So that's what makes me a legend. That's not in a humble space. It's just I helped a lot of people get on, and people know that about me. Anybody, all the new guys, like anybody coming up, people gonna be like, he helped. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm giving back to the game. I can't take from the culture and not give to the culture. But one thing I wind up giving to the culture is helping people.
Always reaching back out to the community. That's
I just
hard.
helped you get on the phone with somebody trying to get on the phone with.
Right.
They did this shit smooth.
Legendary in a few minutes. Literally in a few minutes.
You know what I mean?
Like,
So that's what I like. Like, especially like you came in with the conviction. Like, I even met you once before, I think, in the kitchen here, and you was trying to get me to do this joint over again.
yeah. You remember that?
Yeah, I remember everything. I'm an elephant. And then I was like, if they're coming, like TC spoke so highly of you, and just like, you know, I wanted to. And it's crazy because when we came to the interview first with him, I think my friend was like, man, he ain't coming. He too big time to come to the interview, da-da-da. And I think I was like 10 minutes late. Something had happened. And I pulled up, and I walked in, and they was looking at me like, oh shit, he actually came. Like, but, you know, some people was in the room, they was like, I felt like the energy was wrong. And I was like, damn, I'm showing up because, you know, I know about a lot about this show. Like, motherfuckers be coming on here speaking their truth, and I just wanted to be on there. So I even reached out numerous times, like, when the show here, until it just broke down like, yo, bro, the audio was fucked up.
Right, nigga knew the audio was fucked up. It was all in my face. I was like,
yeah. And I was hitting them, so nobody was getting with the answer. I'm like, damn, I did something wrong. Like, niggas not fucking with me or something. Like, so when I finally found the audio, I was like, oh no, we gonna do that shit over then. And they was like, word? I was like, yeah, fuck it. Let's do it over again. You know what I'm saying?
I ain't gonna lie, Don the real one, bro.
Yeah, I wanted to do that shit over because I'm the whole time I did the interview, I'm like, damn, I smacked that joint, right?
Yeah, that shit was smooth too.
So then I'm watching the spins on there, watching, you know, all these people. I'm like, damn, these are all my compadres. I'm like, damn, when I'm gonna come out? And I'm hitting them, nobody saying shit. I'm like, oh no, what I know what
that. You know we guilty. We ain't saying nothing.
Yeah, so they finally broke down, told me what's happening. I was like, oh, that ain't shit. We do that shit over. Fuck it.
They was heartbroken. They were.
Nah, it's all good.
Ain't
man.
no perfect time.
Nah, it's all good. It's all good.
Nah, man, I appreciate you for hopping on the show, man. This was a crazy episode right here. Y'all make sure y'all run this back, watch it 2 times, you feel me?
No doubt.
With that being said, shout out to Mimi again from Producer Culture, you feel me?
Yeah, son, yeah.
But yeah, that's all right. I'll see you on the next episode.
For sure.